Good morning and welcome to the That Little Gay Talk Show. I'm Charlotte Shotgun.
I'm Joel Tatum.
And welcome back.
Welcome back.
We've been a little MIA.
Yes, we have been. I'm actually going to just consider this season 2.
Season 2, yeah.
I'm just going to consider it season 2 because...
That is season 2.
Yeah, because we have been...
We've been going in. We've been meeting people.
Yeah, we've both been incredibly busy and between work, and I got to do a little thing with you last week.
That's pretty cool.
Which was pretty cool, you had the... Where you sold some jock straps and some.
You got a little taste
together.
of my in life and how
exactly
chaotic it can be.
Brought to you by Bitch Boy Undies, by the way.
Period.
This part of the show is brought to you by Bitch Boy Undies.
Boom, boom.
Exactly.
Sponsored by Bitch Boy
Undies. But yeah, we had a really great time. We were at Buddy's, and.
Speaking of buddies, should we introduce our guest of the evening?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, let's go on ahead and bring him in.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Julio.
Hey, y'all. What's up?
He's a bartender from Buddies. He's a really big persona in the gay industry down here.
Gay
community. Yeah. Gay neighborhood.
In the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. You're one of the first people I met, I think.
Yeah.
Correct. Josh Kelly was the first, and then I think I met you the day after.
Yes. You had just started working at Eagle. I think Blackberry reached out to me. She's like, my sister's going to go work there. You better take care of her. And I was like, oh, if Blackberry has to reach out directly to me.
She did reach out to
Darius Waller, if he has to reach out to me, I was like, this is serious. Like, this is important.
Like, I had just moved there, and she's like, oh, shit, you got a job there that quick? She says they don't really hire people there. So she's like...
Bartending-wise, when I used to work there, no, they didn't hire people. Like, you had to go... You had to go through a process, but if it was like a door position or something of that nature, those were the positions they hired.
That's what they told me, because I had applied for a bartender, and then they said, "Oh, like you're not from here, or you have to move up, and you have to get to know people."
That's how I got my start in Montrose. I applied for bartending at that bar at Eagle, and I remember I applied and I spoke to Charles. I didn't know that was Charles at the time.
Yeah,
and 2 days later,
so that is are both Buddies and Eagle
separate owners, separate entities?
So Charles Armstrong is Eagle, right?
No, that is Mark DeLang is Eagle.
Okay.
Charles is JR's, and then Christopher Berry is Buddies.
Okay, all right. Because Mr. Armstrong has been the one in control of that whole scene for about 30, maybe 35 years.
He had a good grip on that.
He had a complete monopoly.
Yes.
Pretty much on the gay bars in the community for quite some time.
Yeah.
F-Bar came along and kind of broke that up a little bit.
And that's when I was around Montrose scene. That's when I first started coming out to the Montrose scene. Right when F-Bar opened.
Yeah.
And that shuttle that used to take you to Meteor, we used to get on the Meteor shuttle just to go to F-Bar. And they caught on to it. And then they nipped that in the butt real quick.
What was a Meteor?
It was just a little bus from JR's to Meteor.
You know that curve as you're going from Montrose to Rebar, for example?
Yeah.
That curve, there was a spot there and there was a bar right where that's that lot. That used to be Meteor. It was a beautiful, beautiful lounge type bar, gay bar.
Oh, yes. When it first opened up, we were like...
And it was beautiful. It just
girl, I'm impressed.
Yeah, everybody. It was like a go-to bar. It was a fun place to be at. And then they shut it down because they sold the property. I believe they were going to make it a parking lot.
I think so.
Something of that nature.
Oh, that sucks.
But when Meteor was there, they opened F-Bar, and then so the what's it called? Meteor had a free shuttle service that would shuttle you back and forth from the neighborhood. That way, it would bring business to their bar.
Yeah.
And people talk that shuttle used to be fun. It was awesome, man. People just took it, went back and forth. Hey, let's go to Meteor real quick. You got on the shuttle in front of JR. It took you over to Meteor, and then you would just party at Meteor. And if you were done, it'll shuffle you back.
I'm surprised they haven't done something similar that just takes you around the gay bars, like a little in a horse carriage. Can you imagine?
Yes, they did do that, but people kept abusing it. They would use it for other reasons. So that's what happened with Meteor.
Well, I'm just saying, it's like $5 will take you to from Eagle to what is it called? Rebar.
Yes.
That'd be cool. Something to consider about.
That would be nice. And people actually do like that because it's convenient as hell.
Yeah.
But now that was before also when they did the shuttle bus, that was before Uber too.
Yeah, that's true.
That was kind of like that's when Uber first started.
It wasn't really well renowned.
Correct.
Yeah.
So people were more comfortable taking the shuttle. Now that the Uber is a normal thing,
that's true. That's
and the
true.
Lyfts and all that, then people are like now taking the Lyfts and Ubers there, ride sharing there and back.
I think the only time I've been to Rebar is I was hanging out at Eagle or somewhere, and someone in the crowd was just like, "Oh, we're going to Rebar. Who wants to come in the Uber?" And I'm just like, "I don't fucking know you, but let's go."
Okay,
Vamonos, like, let's go. Like, it's secure, and in case they're fucking crazy, I can jump out of the car.
I know we just met, but I'm getting in this Uber with you.
Yeah, that happened one time. I had met someone, and they're like, "I'm going to Rebar," and then I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to."
So I remember that. So they had that free shuttle service back and forth from the neighborhood to Meteor, and then F-Bar opened.
Yeah.
And so people took advantage of the free shuttle that would take you to Meteor. But instead of getting off at Meteor and what it was intended for, people would walk to Rebar.
Yeah.
So from that curve, they would walk all the way, just a block over, really, a block and a half.
Oh, wow.
over to F-Bar. And that, because at the time when they opened, they were also a new bar. They were the hottest thing. It was the it bar you wanted to be at, want to be seen.
I've seen documentaries and stuff of Houston. I don't know if you've seen it, Houston Drag.
Documentaries of F bar.
Not of F bar, but it was of what do you call it? Drag queens in Houston that Rich Lux did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've not seen that.
He's the one that told me about it. So it's really actually informative because the whole thing is like basically based out at F bar.
Okay.
From my F bar and JR's.
F-bar. And South Beach.
In South Beach, yeah. It's very like
F-Bar, when they opened, they had some incredible shows. They brought some quality production stuff that you don't see nowadays unless it's in a special occasion or an event.
Yeah.
But they would do it on the regular. They would bring like high quality entertainers. The entertainers would wear some of the best outfits and gowns and things, and would bring you a full production to a drag show, something that we hadn't seen in so long. Headpieces, gowns.
I don't know any gowns. I feel like that's like a Texas thing.
It kind of
everybody.
We discussed that a while ago. Texas pageants or the gowns and pageants are the big. I mean, that's a Southern thing. I don't know if it's exclusively Texas because I know in several places throughout the South, pageants are huge in the South.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing in the South
for titles and all that stuff.
And Dallas is the place for. Dallas usually holds all the annual Miss Texas, Miss World, Miss all
the
other stuff.
pageants.
Yeah,
okay.
When it comes to big pageants, so I'm sorry, I'm running around. I know. For most of y'all who are listening to the podcast, y'all probably haven't noticed anything, but if you're. I'm also recording it, and it's going to be out later. I'm looking for my little charger plug because my phone's about to go. No, that's not going to work because that's actually for the phone. For this.
Okay. Is this one on the floor?
No. I have one, but I need the
brick.
I need the brick, and I know there's a brick around here somewhere. I'm trying to remember where I put the brick.
What kind of brick are we talking about?
Just for the
a charging brick.
Yeah, a charging brick.
Yeah.
Girl, did you bring a charging brick?
No, I don't. I usually have one in my backpack.
You know, I bought new LED chargers for the wall.
Yeah.
So that when people come over and they have their phones or something, and plus I have the flat pad sitting on the desk.
Yeah.
So like it's for my guests. So when they have to charge their phones or what have you, I have all the things to charge it.
Accommodation.
But I don't have a brick.
We got.
And I'm like looking at my phone just said, "Oh, you have 10% left," and I'm like, "Oh shit, I was supposed to do that before they got here," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And we're recording. We're not recording live, but we're recording, and I want to make sure I get the whole show.
Can you plug it in there? The long one?
Oh, I don't have one long enough.
This one?
No, that's
USB-C.
That's a USB-C. That's for my one of my.
You have a cable?
Game charges,
chargers,
game pads. No, that's still a USB. No. I'll find a brick.
You in trouble, girl.
Okay, because thank you, girl. You in trouble. I'll find a brick. Y'all just keep talking. I will have a brick.
What?
I have an outlet literally right here.
This podcast was brought to you by Brick.
Yeah, exactly.
Beach Boy underwear.
if I could just find my bag.
Which I have a funny story about the jockstrap you made me.
Okay.
Oh, yes, tell me.
Please tell that story.
So I tried it on,
Yes.
and I was gonna wear it to work yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So I ended up not having to wear it to work only because the mesh. This is real personal, but the mesh legit splits my foreskin.
I'm screaming.
To a point where like it hurts. The circulation doesn't flow.
I can make you a bigger one.
No, like it fits perfect.
Yeah.
I think that the mesh, the way the mesh is, it's a big mesh per se.
Yeah.
Spaced out, so like it literally will split. Like they say, this is the. I'm doing a demonstration. This is the foreskin, and like when it comes to the diamond part, or it just like splits it in different.
I see.
And so then like the tip of the foreskin like just starts hurting, and I'm like, ow. But it fits beautifully, looks great. I took a picture with it, had had a moment.
whole moment.
Okay.
Oh my God, how big are you?
I bartend with shorts on the weekends. You can come see for yourself.
And sometimes it rains.
Okay. Sometimes my shorts get wet.
I am behind the bar after all.
But you know what I was thinking?
Yeah.
I was thinking I might have to bring it back or order another one from you where it's the same material, same look, but on the inside like a lining.
Okay, even if you want, I can do like a strip down the middle with like an opaque.
Okay.
Like a even if you want like mesh, like as in like not mesh as in like that's like fishnet lace,
Yeah.
but mesh as in like
Real thin, real not
like it's
small,
like a sheer fabric. Yeah.
Yep. And everybody that came back to me giving me reviews about your jockstrap, they loved them, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
no bullshit. They were all about them. They were really comfortable. Some of the females that bought them,
I found a brick.
She found a brick. She is saved.
I'm saved.
You ain't in danger, girl.
We are out of danger, ladies and gentlemen. Go back to the conversation. Don't let me
Anyways,
stop
like
you
I was
out.
telling you about my foreskin.
Yeah.
I want to hear this conversation even more. And I'm back. I found the brick. I'm back. I'm ready to hear some more about foreskin.
I'm glad this is how season 2 is starting.
Yeah.
So foreskin
Foreskins
talk.
and
Well,
fishnet.
that's how
Foreskins
Foreskin and whiskey.
Well, that's how season 1 ended, so it's fine.
Okay. So yeah, everybody that tried them on just loved them, man. They honestly they gave you high praises and compliments. They just love the way they fit. They love the way that they. And I was like, hit him up for another one. Like hit him up. Like he's local. Like he'll work with you, and I promote the fuck out of you,
Yeah,
whether
you
you
did.
realize it or not. That and even after the event happened, I still promote the hell out of you.
Well, we're gonna see. Because I told him after everything. Because this was so cute because we were sitting. I have not been out past 2 a.m. in about 20 years. And bitches, I'm old.
Okay.
Bitches, I'm old. And I have not been out past 2 a.m. in 20 years. And here we are at Katz's Deli.
Okay.
Getting some food at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I'm like, I got to eat. I can't,
Good old Cats. Man.
Yeah, I can't go to bed.
He ate like a whole chicken.
You had an amazing turnout, Dad. I mean,
Yeah, it was really nice.
and I kept being a salesman. I kept
Yeah,
just
you
bringing
did.
people to the table. Look at this, look at that. You can mix and match.
Yeah,
And sure
I-
enough, one
And
by
I
one.
had fun just
I had
wrapping my
bigger
arms
ears.
around all these men because I haven't touched a man since COVID started.
He was just like, I will say Joel's progressively like Tivenness is just like grabbing the measuring tape and just like,
Yeah.
and I was like, just
And
go
some
in.
of them
And then
lifted
at the
their
end-
shirts up for him. I
Yeah.
saw that.
And then-
Well, I
and then
mean,
at the
if you
end-
want to get the right measurement,
And then at
you
the
have
end,
to, you have to, you have to lift your shirt up.
and then at the end, he's like, "Come to daddy," and I was like,
I brought him a towel at one point so he can clean the drool down the side
Uh-huh.
of his. He was,
I was having a good time. There was one couple in particular.
"Oh yeah, they were
And
so nice."
They were so nice.
Which one? The
It was the
younger
interracial
guy?
couple,
Okay,
the
I know
Hispanic,
exactly. I
the
know.
tall Hispanic guy, and the big burly black man. Oh my
He's
god,
beautiful.
Yeah, he was
he is
so nice.
beautiful. Oh my god.
I don't want to say names, but I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they're like,
that-
like, come to our
If
Ferrari.
you're listening, send me a message.
And I got a little miffed at first because I'm like, oh, of course he has a husband. But then I look at his husband and go, God damn, he's hot too.
He
I would
is.
do-
Yeah. Very hot.
I need to get in the middle of this.
Okay. I want to be a fly on that wall.
I don't want to be a fly on that wall. I want to be in the middle of that.
Okay, literally, physically in the middle.
I want to be literally physically in the middle of that.
Enthralled. I want to be.
And they can switch it around if they want to. I don't care.
Turkey baster.
Turkey baster.
Rotisserie chicken.
Not the turkey baster.
Rotisserie chicken.
And gentlemen, if you ever listen to this, please note,
God, if you're listening,
I'm versatile and I can
they're
do
listening,
everything.
and you can make this happen.
Yes.
God, if you're real,
I don't ask you for much.
Y'all, I had to suffer through COVID alone. I can't. I have missed men for so long.
He's like the touch of a man.
Touch of a man.
The caress.
I know. By the time COVID, it's not over. We still have a lot more work to do. Hopefully, I'm get that first vaccination and I'll be all right.
Do you have a dependable buddy, friend that helps you out in these circumstances?
No, unfortunately. I was just...
You had one and then you broke it off.
I broke it off because I'm like...
Spill the tea. What happened? What he do to you? Why did he hurt you?
What had happened was...
He had gotten attached.
No,
me?
No.
Who caught feelings?
Oh, never mind.
You got feelings?
No, I did not catch feelings. Can I tell a story?
Okay, now I have to interrupt you several times before you tell the story.
In this segment, you'll explain.
Now, what had happened was I decided to take a little bit of a chance. We had a little bit of a fun, but I felt like I was a little too...
Caught feelings. Just say it.
No, I felt like I was a little too rough with him because he was just a skinny little thing.
Oh, she broke him.
And I kind of threw him around the room a little bit. And
did he complain?
You see those dents on the wall?
Well, he didn't.
That's where that came from.
Well, he didn't call me for weeks. And
what is that brown stain on your wall? No kidding.
You do not want to know. But he did not call me for weeks, and I just completely forgot about him after that because I'm like,
out of sight, out of mind.
It was just a thing. And he calls me back. He calls me weeks later and says, "Hey,
break my back again.
Hey, Daddy, you want to hook up?" And I'm like,
"Can you break my back?"
I'm like, I thought I was a little bit too rough for you the first time because you haven't called. You can call. You can't call a bitch.
You call a hotline bling.
Period. I mean, I know that we were just playing around, and this don't mean nothing.
I know
but
the hotline bling.
Good Lord, call a bitch. Don't wait 6 weeks.
Why did
later.
he wait 6 weeks? Is
I
that
don't
the time
know.
it took him to recuperate?
I guess.
I think so.
I must
4 to 6 weeks.
Is that when his back finally healed? 6 weeks later,
his arm wasn't straight anymore.
Because I can tell you right
now. You have
now,
a sensitive lower back. Did he not stretch before coming?
He did not. He did not do any of those things. And I told him, and like Julio, I'm a well built guy. So. Yeah,
define well built.
We just literally talked about you breaking out of your jock strap. You know what I'm talking about, bitch.
Got it.
It was like those squishy toys with the fishnet, and then you don't talk
I'm
about...
not following. Can you elaborate? I'm clueless here.
Yeah. So I thought I heard him. It just turns out that he was super busy, and I'm like, okay, but you
6
can still
weeks busy.
You can still call a bitch. I mean, we don't have nothing going on, but
right.
Send me a text. Tell me you okay.
Send me a video.
I was worried. I was legitimately worried because I thought I might have did something.
He was checking the
inpatient. He was checking being worried about one of your hoes. I love this.
I know.
That's
but
the kind of guy you want to.
That's a hoe that's loyal.
Okay. But here's the thing.
That's how you earn whole loyalty right there. You just take care of them.
I just wanted a buddy to help me get through this. And I thought I had made a buddy, but didn't make one. And I'm like, by that time, I'd already lost interest. So I'm like, you know what? Forget this.
According to my calculations, 6 weeks is going to be next week.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
We're still within the time frame.
I know.
He's like, Joe's going to be happy next week. I'm like, I know what happened.
So, no, I have not. No, I just haven't. And
so when is he going to visit you again? And when is it going?
Oh, that's not going to happen. First of all.
Wait, what? So what?
It's not. I mean, because first of all.
Pero like, ¿por qué?
Because first of all, he's just a kid. I can't. I mean, he's 26. He's just a kid to me. I just.
You don't want to be that daddy?
I don't want to be. No. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
You don't want to be his 50 Shades of Grey?
No, I don't want to be his 50 Shades of Grey.
Stupid.
I do not.
You don't want to teach him a thing or two?
No, if you don't know
throw him around the room.
Look, if you don't know by now.
Break his back again?
No. No.
He's gonna come back with scoliosis.
Not scoliosis.
Oh, good Lord.
Where people, how'd you get scoliosis? It's a long story.
It's a long.
I got thrown around. That's all I can say.
No.
Like, you know, a pretzel? That was me.
I didn't know my legs could do that. But here I am.
No, I need a.
How did you meet this young man? If you don't mind me asking.
Just like every other gay. On Growler, I think.
Out for ice cream? How'd you meet him?
On Growler. I think it was on Growler. Mm-hmm. He
That's
was
where you-
lonely.
that's
He
where you
was
find love.
lonely.
You find
I was
love on
lonely.
hookups.
Period.
I love those profiles. They're like, I'm only here to find love and to find real
And
real
it
connection.
Says love.
Oh, no,
it
I
says,
end up-
it says
Bitch,
love and then an
you're-
ashtray. Then on the ashtray, it's like a fist.
I know, right? Oh my God, it turns out that way every time.
That's usually the first profile. They'll send you like an ass pic. Just like,
I was like, whole spread out. Like,
Okay.
hey, girl, you got a little toilet paper right there, girl.
do you ever just judge those? Like honestly sit there, look and rate them like from 1 to 10, or then look at the butt and like, okay, that's cute. Oh, that's
Like,
round.
he missed a spot shaving.
You can even tell their age damn near.
Oh, you can't. No.
Sometimes you can look in from the back like, oh, he's older. I can tell he's.
It's stupid. It's like rings on a tree.
Well, on Scruff, I got my feelings hurt on Scruff because
Why?
this guy sent me a woof,
You
and I
bugger.
said, "Okay, thank you for that." He goes, "I sent you a woof, but you are like."
I
You're
woofed
like-
you.
I woofed you.
How dare you
because
not
you're like-
acknowledge me?
This is the woof he sends me. He sends me a woof, and then I say thank you. But he goes, but don't get your hopes up because you just way too old for me. And I'm like,
Ew.
Oh, the audacity!
all I said was thank you. I
That's
didn't say I wanted to fuck you. I just said thank you.
It was
Good
implied. It was
Lord.
implied with a thank you.
God.
But you know what? He was like super
Thank
like
you.
he was like super muscular, and I guess he had been hit on by a lot of older gentlemen.
He's a
And
type
I'm like,
gay. That's a type gay.
I'm like, you know what? All I said was thank you. That's all I said. I don't
Just-
understand where you got. I want to fuck you from
Just
thank you.
Just send unwolf back.
Good Lord. I was like,
Like,
y'all
you've been
mean on
officially
Scruff.
They are mean nowadays.
And that was a backhanded compliment. First you compliment me by sending me a woof. Then you tell me I'm too goddamn old for you.
Rude ass.
Are you serious?
He wanted the attention. That's what he wanted.
Exactly.
If he initiated
Nobody's
the
talking to me
woof,
during
and then you
quarantine.
reply with thank you, then he goes, no, I was just woof. Girl, you click that woof for a goddamn reason.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when you super like somebody on Tinder or something. She's like, God damn it, that was an accident. I'm sorry.
I haven't used Tinder in a minute.
Me too. So anyways, back
Oh,
to...
look, you got a notification.
I thought I turned those off.
You know, we would have heard that. You know, these microphones are super sensitive. We would have heard it. Everybody would have heard it. Oh, girl, you got something going on? Do we need to get you out of here real quick?
I have to be out of here by 6. It's 5:55. You heard what I said.
Okay, let's get you on out of here then.
Do you have a water bottle I could use?
Okay.
Yo, what's going on across this table? I mean, good Lord.
The whiskey, the
I
Jim Beam
know.
is what's going on.
Girl, that's not even enough for
And we just started
This is
drinking.
the Friday. This is
If
like the first 20 minutes.
Okay.
y'all are young and drinking. I'm like, oh, this is like having a glass of water and
This is what I do with my friends on the regular. I love sitting around drinking and shooting shit. That's my favorite thing to do.
I know I like doing it too, but the problem with me is that I start off fun, but then I get super mean. I mean, I get I'm one of them
flips the script on
bitches.
you.
Take the bottle back.
Yeah, I get super mean.
Let's pull the
I either
JB
get
away
super
from her.
mean or
You get super sensitive
or
sometimes.
yes,
too.
I get super mean.
Are
or
there
sensitive,
are there
or,
trigger topics?
or I get like
I don't
super
think so.
horny. So,
That part.
Oh,
I
so
haven't- yeah.
where is the nearest emergency exit?
The window.
The window.
The window.
One
well,
story
we're-
down.
Well, we're on the second floor and it's all screened.
I had to jump out of. I almost jumped the balcony once. I was in a situation where like I legit looked over the balcony and said, "Okay, if I have to break my legs here, so fucking be it."
I would grab like a
And
a bed
that
sheet or
event
something.
changed my trust issues with people after like for a long time. It was one
Oh
of those,
wow!
That's scary, though.
That is scary.
Trusting people is so.
And it was worse because it was people I knew. That was the sad part. But this is years ago. This is way before I even worked in Montrose. This is like, I want to say over 8-9 years ago. Even. Yeah. And it was a scenario where it was a group of friends that I knew at the time, and they were having a hangout, a cookout at their house. Hey, come over. We're having fun. We're chilling. And after this, we're gonna go to Montrose and have fun. Bet, cool. I come over. We hang out, and when you notice the body language, you notice the thing, the vibes, and they were. So then I could tell like they were like looking at each other and like signaling, and I was just like, something's up here. And so when it was at the end of the dinner, we had cleaned up and everything, and I remember okay, well, let's go to Montrose. Well, you guys go ahead first. And then one of the guys said, let's go to my house real quick. I have to pick something up there. And from there, we'll head out. Oops, excuse me. From there, we will head out. And me being trusting, let's go, whatever. So we go to his house. And when we get there, here, you want a drink? I was like, I thought we were going to Montrose. What's going on? Like, no, let's have a drink. We'll pregame and then we'll head out. Oh, okay, cool. So he starts setting up the drink, but I'm one of those people, like, I'll watch people make my drink after that, especially after that day. Yeah. And so he made me a drink. I went to the patio and chilled, and then all of a sudden, I've never seen this in my life. This dude brings out, like, a fucking brick of marijuana. Compressed marijuana. Like, I've never seen that in my life. Like, I've seen weed before many a time.
Yeah, that's like a shitload, too.
He brought it, and he literally goes, here, take as much as you want. Like, just hands me this damn near the size of your...
Bitch, I'd be like,
give me a knife. I'm cutting it in half.
Okay.
The whole break. Like, bitch, I can make money
I'm
off
sorry.
this.
Did you say take as much as you want?
Like, okay.
The whole brick in my backpack. I'll see you later, girl.
Okay.
Like, you got another one?
So then I smoked he had like a little one hitter, so I smoked a little, and I just remember their body language just said it all. And I'm one of those people that, like, I'm very observant, very like sometimes I can feel energies or I can sense a thought or an intention.
Absolutely, yeah. When it's mood changing.
Oh yeah, I'm very sensitive to stuff like that. So then I remembered I was just chilling there on the balcony, and then they both of them came over, and they were just talking to me. Coleman was like waiting me out, like, okay, let's get. Do you want another drink? And they kept insisting on me having another drink because I wasn't finishing the one I had fast enough for them, and he wanted to make one for me so he could drop something in it and then bring it back. Say, here you go, and then. So I was like, no, I'm good. And he really just, you sure? Hey, you want every 5 seconds? You want another drink? You want another drink?
That's so persistent.
Finish your drink. Why are you not finished? You're babysitting your drink. And mind you, like I just started like 5 minutes ago. And I was like, okay, that was clue number 1, red flag. And then I noticed the body language was very, one guy was nervous. Yeah. And you can just sense a nervous energy. So he kept going back and forth.
I've seen this in the movie.
And so then I could tell, at one point they both go back in the kitchen, and through the balcony window, I could see them inside kind of like, dude, what the fuck? Like, hey, you're supposed to do this, and I'm supposed to do that, and I'm just like, and I'm high as a kite at that moment, but I'm still paying attention to what's going on. I'm like, fuck, something's happening here. They're gonna, and then so I kept calling the guy that was supposed to meet us in Montrose, the friend we had dinner at his house. He wasn't picking up the phone. He wasn't answering text messages. He was just like gone. And then so he wasn't ignoring us, and then the guys were like, no, just hurry up, we're gonna go to Montrose. I remember that. I knew that I was in trouble. I knew, like, you just sense it. I'm in trouble. I need to get the fuck out. Scary. I need to get the fuck out of here. Something's going to happen. So in that moment, I had a drink. It's like, oh, I just kind of threw some out while they were in the kitchen. And I threw some out the balcony. And I said, hey, I need to go get a drink. And he's like, I'll make it for you. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, do that. Where's the restroom? And he goes, oh, it's downstairs. Coincidentally, the restroom was by the front door. Girl, when I tell you, but you in that moment, because it was so tense and you knew shit was going down and they were watching me, I had to be smooth about it. Like, oh, where's the restroom? Okay, cool. The restroom. I couldn't go, okay, thank you, and then jet off. I start walking towards the door, and when I look behind me, nobody's behind me, and in that moment, I'm like fearing for my life, damn near. So I'm trying to unlock the door, and as I'm trying to unlock the door, it's just it's like not working. So then I was like, breathe. Okay. Take your time. And so sure enough, click, clack, unlocks. And then I walk out to the front, and I remember at that time I had a BlackBerry. That's when BlackBerries had just got GPS. And so I pretend to be on a phone call. Hello? Hey, what's going on? Where you at? Oh, you're in Montrose? Yeah, we're about to head out over there. Yeah. Where you at? And I'm like faking this phone call, and I could see them on the balcony hearing me talk on the phone. And then I hear them whispering. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, is he leaving? The hell? I walk over to the front of the house, and I was like, hey, okay, guys, so I'm going to take off because my friends are over there, and you guys are chilling over here, and I'll meet you guys. No, wait. One guy, like, when I tell you he jetted, he ran
Yeah.
downstairs to meet me. And as I noticed that he was trying to catch me to bring me back, bitch, when I tell you I jetted to my car, like I started speed walking my ass. And this is one of those scenarios where my car was like 5 blocks down.
Bitch.
And you're like really trying to get to your car. But in reality, it was like maybe a block away. But it felt like 5. And you're like,
especially when those times when your adrenaline is there, it's like, oh, that's so scary though.
So here's the even scarier part.
Yeah.
And this is the part where I flipped the fuck out. And I was like, it's here. It's now or never. If whatever the fuck goes down, I'm here for it. So be it. As I'm walking towards my car and I'm like nervous pacing. And I'm like, at one point I even started running. Straight up, and I get to the door. I open the door. As I'm about to close the door, it's like a fucking movie. He grabs the door, grabs the fucking door as I'm midway closing it. Hey, what's wrong? What happened? Where are you going? And that's when I looked at him. I said, if you don't get the fuck away from my door, I swear to God, whatever power I have in me, because he was bigger than me. And I said, whatever power I have in me, I will beat the fuck. I will do whatever the fuck it takes for me. Mind you, I was high as fuck in the moment. My adrenaline. I'm scared. These guys are trying to rape me, and I know that they were trying to rape me because. Fast forward. So, anyways, he lets go of the door. He sees the fear in my eyes. He hears the voice that's like. He lets go. I close that shit, lock it, take the fuck off. And I get home, and like a week later, I was having a conversation with a mutual friend, and I was like, "No, fuck them guys. I'm never hanging out with them. I know what they were trying to do. This and that." He's like, "What do you mean?" Dude, and I explained to him the same story I gave y'all. He's like, can I tell you something? He's like, they did that to me.
Oh.
He's like, but they actually took advantage of me. And I remember waking up the next day not knowing where the fuck I was and realizing some of my body parts were hurting. And I look around and I realize I'm at his house. And then I start asking questions and they're acting very, you got drunk and then we just kind of did it. He's like, no, I've never wanted to have sex with you.
Did they still come out and about?
No, they didn't. And so here's the funny part. As I took off, so when I slammed the door closed, I take off. Not 5 minutes later, guess who calls me?
Your friend?
The person that wasn't answering the phone. Or, hey, what's up? I heard you we were just about to head out. Where are you at? I heard you left. And I was like, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Don't ever talk to me again. What are you talking about? Why are you acting like this? Play stupid. And I literally called them out in that moment. I was like, play stupid all you want, bro. Shame on you. Up. Shame on you. And I just said, never, ever speak to me in public. Never, ever. If you even cross one word in my direction, I promise you I will swing on you and let you have it. And he was like, so he hung up. So then that's when, like a week later, I spoke to another mutual friend who also stopped talking to them, and that's when he told me the story. He told me, like, dude, it was similar to what happened to you. Yeah, similar. We came to his house, we had drinks, they offered me drugs, I took them, and then next thing you know, I'm waking up in the morning, my butt hurts, I'm naked, and wondering what the hell's going on, and then I'm still out of it because the drug is powerful, and he's like, dude, ever since then, like. So yeah, it's
so crazy how even though there's a big community in this, like there's a big gay community, there's also people that like can take advantage of you.
That changed my perspective. That changed my trust with people for a long time. It took me years before I could actually hang out with somebody by ourselves, hang out with somebody with just me and who else is there, and I would ask those cars, who else is gonna be there, or how many people were coming, where's this at? Oh, it's at a restaurant? Oh, yeah, I'll go. Oh, it's at a public... Oh, it's 13 people are going to be there? Yes, I'll be there.
Okay, yeah. That's completely understandable.
It took me years before...
So that's scary. You're close to really...
way before I started working in Montrose, the scene and all that stuff. This is when I was just a regular young kid that just came out and had fun. And I remember I got to the club and I told him... Actually, I didn't even get to the club. I left and I went straight home. And I drove... And at the time, I lived in Leak City. And we were like in... mid downtown East Edo, but I don't think it was Edo at the time.
It wasn't Edo. It was a terrible neighborhood. I've been in Houston. Yes. I've been in I'm pointing at the liquor, sorry. I've been in Houston since maybe 78, 79, and I saw Houston. I'd like to say that I saw Houston when it was when we moved here, I thought it was the dirtiest, ugliest city I'd ever seen.
I agree.
And I told my dad, I'm like, what just literally happened here? I'll fix that in a minute. We're about to go to break. So I told my dad this is the dirtiest, ugly city I've ever seen, and I don't think I ever want to live here, and I don't know why we moved.
And I've been in Houston over almost 10 years now, roughly. So when I first moved here, that was one of my initial impressions. I've never lived in a big city.
But in '78, it was awful.
It's in my perspective,
awful.
it's really nice.
Yeah.
Now it's so much. It is so much nicer now.
It's really
I've
pretty.
watched this city grow and change, and the more it grew and changed, the more that I became to love the city.
That's,
exactly.
That's sort of like my hometown in Jupiter. Like there was only one road going this way, one road going that way, and then every time I go visit my mom, I'm just like, whoa, like this is 4 lanes on this side, 4 lanes on this side. Yeah,
it is crazy.
You go back to your small towns, and you're like, wow.
And I remember when I'm like, these houses are new. This used to be like a woods area,
or the businesses change, or something like. What happened to that mom and pops in the corner? What happened to that restaurant? Oh, they closed a year ago.
Yeah,
they went bankrupt, or
That's
so Montrose is. I mean, for me, it's gotten even crazier. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of a break.
Okay.
Because actually we usually take a break at 30 minutes into it, but we've been talking so much it's 35 into it.
So that's good.
So that's actually pretty good. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. Everybody's going to chill, relax a little bit, take a bathroom break. I think Julio's going to model for us for a little bit.
I brought it with me, by the way.
He brought it with him. So you will not see that on camera, by the way.
I'm going to show you how it splits my foreskin.
Yeah.
I wanted you to have a visual representation.
Unless we decide to put it on Patreon so we can make a little extra money. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back.
So I told Scott.
And we're back. We're back. We're having fun. And he told Scott what?
Welcome
what did you
back.
Tell Scott?
Oh, on the way to go pick up some more Jim Beam, I was like, hey, I do want to conclude that story I was telling you originally, because I feel like I left it like just
little cliffhanger.
Yes, please. That was a cliffhanger. Tell us.
So after that scenario happened, that whole almost got what sexually abused, what would you call that, raped or something.
Yeah.
I just, after that changed my trust with people, and so that the way I would hang out with people, and it took me about a few years before I can finally get that, okay, not everybody has that intention.
Yeah.
It's okay to hang out with people, before I can be comfortable going to people and hanging out with them. It took me a while, but that was a traumatic experience for me back then. But I did learn from it. Made me more cautious, more aware. When people drinks and things like that, or who I hang out, where I hang out with.
Yeah.
So yeah, it shifted that for me. So that was my conclusion.
I think I've only gotten ruthied once, and it was I was noted. I was 18 years old, sneaking into gay bars, and I remember this guy was all over me. Then my friend she's a girl, she was with me, and then she saw my whole body language and everything changed, and she's like, your face was red, you were sweating a lot.
Wow.
And she's like, you were ruthied, and he was trying to take you home, and she's like, I did not let that happen. And then the next day she's like, do you remember anything that happened? I was like, no. I don't. And she's like, yeah, because you went to my house and you just were fucking dead.
Oh wow.
And she's like, I assumed that you got ruthied. So she gave me food. I ate and stuff, but I was like, I don't recall anything.
And as a bartender, when I see people leave their drinks behind, this and that, it's like, I don't care how old you are, baby. I'm not responsible for your drink, and you cannot trust anybody, not even the bartender.
Yeah.
You just can't trust people with don't. And there are people that will be like, I'll be right back, and then they leave their drink, go walk 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from their drink, come back to it. Oh, there it is. I was like, if you leave it and you're not back, I will throw it away, but I'm not responsible for anything that happens to your drink.
Yeah, I'd rather have it thrown away than to actually free. Yeah, absolutely. Get you another drink, or get you another drink. You know what I mean?
I cannot recall how many times in my 20s I had been rescued by one of my friends from their drug dealer. And I'm like,
the drug dealer?
So you left me in a situation with... So you left me. If you thought a break of marijuana was impressive.
And I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah.
I've never seen large amounts of drugs. I've only seen little amounts that people have with them and shit. So, here we are. Houston, 1994.
That's when I was born.
Take me back.
I was a young man who had just come out of the closet, was looking for... I had read every book about being gay. since I was 16 years old. So I thought I was ready.
Okay.
I thought I was ready to get out in the
You
world.
read the how-to for dummies.
Yes, I read the
How to
how-to.
be gay.
I read
dummies.
the joy of gay sex.
They need to come out with that book.
How to bottom for dummies.
I read
welcome.
the joy of gay sex.
I'll take my royalties when you're ready.
And I was still confused because I was like, so I thought, you know what I thought gay sex was? I thought it was rubbing your dicks together.
Yeah.
Ah,
That's what I thought gay
Yeah,
sex
I
was
thought-
when
I
I was
thought- okay,
when
I
I was a
thought, like-
teenager.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it was. I didn't realize
What
until
it
I was in my
entailed.
20s
Yeah.
when I took my first porn. By the way,
my first porn.
okay,
And that was
let
old school porn, bitch.
Okay,
That
this
wasn't
is
like-
old school porn. You had to go to the video
Yep.
store. And then you had to go to their little back section because every
Yes.
video
Little,
store,
yeah,
including the
little back.
neighborhood. I never went to Blockbuster. You
It's
know,
like
you couldn't
closed
get
off.
porn at Blockbuster.
Hell no. It was like
Blockbuster
romantic
is
movies.
family. Yeah, that's a family store. But there was always the little neighborhood video stores. If you couldn't find it at Blockbuster, you could always find it at the neighborhood video store. So I went to a little neighborhood video store, saw the little ranch doors, which are the little
Yeah.
swing doors.
Not
Like,
the
that's
ranch
the gay
door.
section.
Yes.
The squeaky back and forth.
Yeah, squeaky back and forth to let
There's
everybody
little-
know
there's
that
like
you're
a-
going to the porn
There's
section.
like a little bear flag somewhere.
Yes. It was basically an indication that if you walk back there, everybody knows you were going to the porn section.
You know how I found my first porn? As a kid, throwing
What?
away the trash. I lived in an apartment complex at the time, and then somebody threw out a stack of magazines, and I looked over and I was like, titties.
I love
You know, back
titties.
then,
But-
I didn't know any better.
But like I said, the first time I went in there, and first I saw nothing but titties. And
Okay.
I'm like, this is not the place for me.
I'm at the wrong.
You're looking at
And
the
then
dicks.
I turned around and there was that wall of D, and I went, okay.
The cloud parted, the light shone.
I'm like, okay, so
Penis.
what do I choose from? And there
I'm
was
not worthy.
and there was so much to choose from, and I went with classics. I went with what is Falcon? Falcon Videos made some fantastic.
Yes.
Falcon Videos were fantastic
This
in
is
the
back
90s.
in the 70s, so
That's like
what,
the
what we
original-
consider now
that's the
low
ori-
quality.
Yes,
That's
low-
the original.
This was
Bitch, that
okay.
was back then. That was
This
high
was
quality.
now by the 90s. These were old. By the time I got to these videos, they were like 70s, 80s,
Those
70s
videos had
and
been
80s.
circulated a few times.
So
and
there was a lot of
enjoyed several
they were.
So there was a lot of
from hand to hand.
non-condom sex going on, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that because it's 1994. No, I'm not fixing to catch
Okay.
AIDS. But it was the first time I'd seen non-condom sex, and I'm like, okay,
By the way, I'm gonna throw this out there. Sidebar to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people that believes that AIDS was created and was to purposely infect the community.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the conspiracy theory aspect
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
you know what? I'm not gonna say yay or nay.
I
to
saw
that.
him look in his face like,
There, you know, conspiracy theories come and go, and
They do.
yeah, so it's just like COVID. They just come and go, but they weren't as widespread. I mean, I've heard the conspiracy theories.
and don't get me
back
wrong,
then.
like I understand the severity of AIDS and what it is, what it has done to people.
absolutely.
But then looking at the behind the scenes, I'm like, this shit was orchestrated. This shit was injected into somebody to pass around.
Yeah,
it.
this was the talk at the time too. So a lot of gays, because it had affected the gay community so bad.
Yes.
There were a lot of gays who, and I hate to admit that maybe for a small amount of time I believed it too.
Yeah.
So I
Because
just,
during that time,
but I did
you were
everything,
living
yeah.
it. You were in that moment.
yeah,
in
but
that
I was a
time.
young person in it, and to be a young person in it, you know, I thought when I came out of the closet, I thought my life was gonna. The moment I moved out of my parents' house, I was gonna be like, oh, I'm free.
Right.
I can live my life the way I
Yeah.
want to. I cannot wait. And then here comes AIDS.
Okay.
And I'm like, well,
Take a seat.
back in the closet again.
Take a seat. How long
Back
were
in-
you in the closet for?
I didn't actually come out until I was 24, but many conversations that my parents had.
Similar here. I didn't come out to around 23, 24.
You know, the amazing thing is that I watch the kids now, and when they were talking to their parents, and their parents like, "Oh, we knew you were gay," and I love that, and I love it because those conversations were had when I was 12, 13, 14, 15 with my dad, and even though my dad and I were not the best of friends,
Yeah.
and by the way, my gayness is not the reason why we don't get along. Amazingly enough, it is not the reason why we don't get along.
Was it you guys had strong personalities?
We're very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Hard-headed?
Yeah, exactly.
Prideful?
Well, more on the lines of the fact that because of his upbringing, he had a very different view of marriage, life, kids.
Yeah.
That was completely different from mine. I'm completely free.
Was his more traditional?
No. He had a father who basically came and went as he pleased. He abused his mother.
Okay.
That kind of thing. So he kind of carried that tradition on. Not to the point of his father, but to the same point.
That was his example that he followed.
And he married a lot. This was a man who could not be single on his own. He had to have someone take care of him.
Yeah.
So that was his thing. But he always talked about the freedoms of being able to do this and that and blah. And he always instilled that in me, which I always thought was kind of weird. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? This actually changed me.
Can I ask a question? Was he very open-minded in that sense of freedom come and go, but it only applied to him, and when your mom tried to do it, she couldn't do it? Was it one way?
Yeah,
like
it was one way.
It was like very machista.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he wasn't abused. He wasn't like physically abusive.
Was it verbal, emotional?
But he was manipulative. He was he was manipulative.
I cannot stand a manipulative person. I can detect manipulation a mile away.
Here's the here's the not the beauty, but here's the sad thing. When you are being physically abused, you know how to get away from that.
Yes.
You easily know how to get away from that. But when you're being psychologically and mentally abused, that's harder to get away from.
Yeah.
Because they've learned how to tick your boxes. They've learned how to get into your psyche. And they've learned how to control you they don't physically have to do a thing.
Correct.
You will literally jump at their request. And this is every woman that my dad was ever with.
And I grew up with a she still is. I have a narcissistic, at times manipulative mother. Mm-hmm. And once I got old enough to realize, you don't have power over me anymore. And I cut that shit out real quick. I was like, this is where we draw the line now. These are the new boundaries. I no longer play your strings and your fiddle and whatever. It was always very I grew up with a woman who was very selfish, very self-centered.
But the more I got to know him, the more I realized something. He had always resented the fact that he never had the freedom to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's why he did.
What did he want to do? How did he define freedom?
You know what I discovered about my parents? And this is what I discovered about my parents. Neither one of them wanted to be married.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Neither one of them wanted to have children.
They told you that later on, or you just
realized it? I realized it later.
Okay.
And in fact, my mother actually did tell me this later on after she'd gone through therapy and everything else. My mother was very, and this is why I watch my alcohol and everything else. She was susceptible to. I mean, my dad manipulated her into drinking and all this other stuff, so he could control her easily.
Yes. Yeah.
It took her years to get substance abuse. They used to party. They used to go to Studio 54. My mom talked about all the times that they did cocaine together and drank a lot. And my mom said, I never touched alcohol until I met your father.
Wow.
I never didn't even know what it was until I met your father.
She was very innocent.
Yeah, exactly.
Unknowing of that world.
Yeah, exactly. So he brought her into that world. And then she got pregnant and...
Were you the first? Are you the only?
No, I have two other brothers from that marriage. But father has several other kids from several different marriages.
From being free.
Yeah, exactly. But he wasn't free. His thing was the fact that he had to be with someone. Someone had to take care of him.
Yeah,
he did not know how to take care of himself.
That sucks that people are like that.
Yeah, he did not know, and he learned it from his father.
Yeah.
So he was able to go out and do what he wanted to do, but he knew that there was someone who's going to be there to take care of him when he needed that.
Yeah.
So he learned that from his father. What I learned from him was the freedom. And all the times that he told me that, hey, I know that I'm not a great parent and all this other stuff, you have to deal with it. But
just to make sure,
I do what I wanted to do and everything else. And
when you say freedom, define that for me. Does that mean like
Is that just
freedom?
like being a hoe, just fucking around?
no, freedom means
Freedom
that
to come and go as you please. Freedom.
he always, yes, exactly. He always wanted to have that freedom to be able to. Like I said, my parents never wanted to be married.
Yeah.
They wanted to be able to break away from their family traditions.
Yeah.
And be themselves.
They were living that mold that was created for them.
But because they grew up in the generation that they grew up in, they were told that they had to get married.
Yeah.
And that's what.
And that was the norm
when
at
my
the
mom got pregnant, I asked my mom, if you had gotten pregnant when abortion was legal, would you have had an abortion? She said yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful.
And I went.
That's powerful.
I respected her after that
Yeah,
because
right.
I'm like,
that's all you can
Yeah.
do. But
Yeah.
if you think about
Because
how
she
that would
had
change
no
the
power.
timeline,
yeah, exactly.
Let's say, for example, if it was, let's play that scenario. Like, what if it was legal and there was no
Yeah,
stigma
exactly.
to it? Would you be here? Would you?
No,
not
I wouldn't be here.
Would you? Would this timeline play out? Like,
No.
it goes into this rabbit
but
hole.
And
then who would she have?
I'm going to go into some very dark territory for you guys. So
Okay.
just be
Cautious.
okay, cautious and
Yeah.
okay with this. With all the stuff that I went through from my child, I was never a child. I always had to take care of my parents.
Yeah.
And my parents admitted that. That even when I was 6, 7 years old, I was making sure that they had food when they came home.
Yeah.
I had a brother who was a year younger than me. I had to make sure that he ate and went to school. I made sure
Yeah.
that he had everything.
And that changes you.
Yeah.
So
I never had a childhood.
Adult at such
You
a young
put your
age.
childhood in the back burner
Yeah,
while you had to
exactly.
be an adult, that you
Adults,
would be
yeah.
even
Yeah,
prepared
exactly.
or equipped to be an adult at 6 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Because Dad said, and this is what Dad said, you never liked me. You hated me when you were 2 years old. I had to go and look up the backstory of why he said that. And it turns out that he was in Vietnam
Yeah.
when I was born. So I didn't know who he was. I grew up with a mother who was doing
Fending
her
for
thing
herself.
and thinking for herself, and she would take me to. She wanted to be a writer, and she wanted to do this and that and all this other stuff. So she would take me on her back
Yeah.
to hang out with poets and all this other stuff. And
Did she ever live out any of her dreams?
yeah,
any of
she
her
got to live
aspirations?
it once. Once the divorce was final,
Yeah.
and she was able to. She did not have custody. of
What
us.
year was this?
1973. She lost custody of all three of us.
When did they get married?
They got married maybe in 60. Let's see. I was born in 67, so they conceived me
You
probably
were born
in 66.
a year before Martin Luther
Yeah.
King died.
66. So I was conceived in 66. She found out she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And
That was the
he was
60s.
going
That
off.
was during the civil. Well, I was going to say Civil War, but
Vietnam.
civil rights and
Yeah.
things like that era.
Yeah, and Vietnam was coming around, and he just got shipped off to Vietnam, and that was that.
This is during the time where segregation started,
Yeah.
like breaking down those barriers of segregation, letting kids
Yeah,
go to
exactly.
white schools, and people of color, children of color, go to white schools.
But
and
the beautiful thing is, I'm not
Damn,
going to say
that's
the beautiful thing.
once again,
I grew up in Washington D.C. and my mother grew up in a society of middle class, rich black people.
okay,
So she
in the 60s.
no, way before that,
50s.
Yes, 50s, 40s,
And there were those neighborhoods back in the day. There were, 'cause
Yeah.
they had to live around each other,
Yeah.
but some of those neighborhoods were purposely destroyed.
My mother's parents were very, very. They had a nice house. They had a lot of money. My dad comes along. They cannot stand him
because he's not what they wanted
because he is
for
poor.
their daughter.
He is
How old
this and that.
How old are your parents?
I think my mother said that she met my dad when she was 17.
How are they now?
My father is,
And they are alive.
Yeah,
Both
they
of them?
are
Okay.
alive. He is 78. My mother is 74.
Yeah.
That's how old my roommate is.
They're
74.
They're super
really?
active. They're super active. They are in excellent shape. My mother still works. She works in drug abuse counseling and everything else.
Oh,
My
awesome.
dad is a gardener. He owned a furniture store. He's always been physically fit, so he's always taking care of himself. So yeah, they're really,
active for their age.
They're active. Neither one of them are in a home. I don't have to worry. My dad has wife number 7.
I feel like you guys talk. I'm getting the sense that even though these experiences happen in both their lives, your lives, that at the end of all that, y'all came to realizations. You came to acknowledge certain things that happened.
Yeah.
And because I don't sense a bitterness. I don't sense a. I just sense
I'm not bitter.
No. But I'm not sensing it. That's what I'm saying. I can tell you're not. You need ice?
I'll get you ice.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Straight up,
we're refilling the
I'll
drink.
get you ice. I'll get you ice.
Okay.
But I'm getting a sense that I get the sense that your family has open communication. Like you guys have talked about these things, which is important. Because once you talk about it, it clears the air.
Oh, there's still animosity. There's still animosity. And I love to say this. My dad's been married 6 times, maybe 7. But my
That's a high number,
brothers,
respectfully said.
my brothers, Michael and my brothers. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mention their names. My brothers have only been married twice, and they have full, wonderful relationships.
Yeah.
With the women that they love, and they married strong women.
That's good. I grew up with strong women.
Whereas Dad married weak women, and I don't like to say that. That just sounds wrong.
Because okay, I get it.
Yeah,
I get very like.
I don't like to say that because in this day and age, I don't think of any person, but I do understand because I've lived that kind of life.
And I think what you mean by that is weakness in the sense of they can be easily controlled.
Yeah, exactly.
They can be easily told what to do. They're not strong women where they can stand up for themselves.
And I got to experience that as a gay man, so I understand it a lot more than I.
You were the
weak
one in the relationship.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. But at the same time, I realized something.
What brought that on? Was it love? You thought that you were just doing your part to fulfill the other person to make them happy?
No, you know what it brought it on?
Did you have a void? I mean, honestly,
honestly, I thought being gay was the most amazing thing on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, I read up everything. I spent my entire high school life.
By the way, I love how you read about becoming gay.
I read everything that I could possibly read about being gay because I knew that there was something wrong.
That lets me know that you didn't have anybody around you that you could talk to, ask questions. So you had to educate
I went to
yourself.
The library.
Yeah, you had to find that information other ways. So you went to those resources available to you at the time.
And finding a gay book at a library.
Get it, girl. Oops, sorry, my hand slipped. Sorry, he's pouring whiskey into his cup, and let's just say his hand slipped. Huh?
Am I pouring at the Eagle?
Clearly.
On a Wednesday night?
Finding gay subjects in a library was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. Because
they do have a lot of books. When
I was growing up, they were usually pushed to the far back. And no one ever went to those sections.
When you were growing up, that was more controversial. Those topics were still taboo.
They weren't controversial. Well, I mean, they were controversial, but...
And controversial in the sense of there was especially in the public school system, religious views, there was conservatism and things of that nature. And
there was a public library across the street from my high school.
Okay, that's where you got your info.
So I could go to the back section that nobody went to.
Correct.
And I could literally be alone in that back section and read everything about being gay.
I'm glad that you as a young man had that curiosity and fulfilled it through resources that you found.
Absolutely. You had to go out of
You
your
didn't
way
have to learn the hard way. You didn't have to, meet somebody that taught you the wrong things. Like you learned.
Oh, I learned so many wrong things after that. So everything that I read never turned out the way that I thought it did.
I was about to ask you that. What was the expectation? What was the expation, and then what was the reality? Like in your mind before you started.
The expectation was that I thought being gay would free me from everything. It would free me from racism. It would free me from everything because everybody's gay.
It was the solution.
And everybody was going to be like into this big rainbow.
And to love you,
Yeah.
That's how they make it seem on like
and
books
that's what I
stuff.
thought as a young person.
I like the way you finger your drink, by the way.
But
did you just queef your own drink
out of my mouth?
Are we flirting here? I mean,
no.
what's going on?
No,
he
was so enticed on how I mix my libation.
As a bartender, and I'm a bartender, we have to watch how we talk to people sometimes.
Yes.
Because we do flirt with people because we're trying to get money out of them.
Thank God there's like a barrier between us at times because the shit that I say.
When I do the shots at Eagle, sometimes these guys are like pull down their mask trying to make out with me. Like I'm like, I have the corona, don't touch me.
And I'm at work.
And they still try to do it. I'm like, no, I just don't do that.
I have that.
I didn't brush my teeth in like 3 days. You don't want
But
to.
when you've been bartending, as long as I think you and I have been bartending for a long time.
Yeah. Well,
I've been bartending for about 20 years. How long have you been bartending?
officially
Can you tell us your bartending? How you got into bartending?
So
Tell us that.
I've always worked in the service industry, whereas restaurants, in every restaurant I worked at, I always worked my way up to the bars
Yeah.
and just worked the bars in those restaurants. But a lot of, depending on what restaurant I was in, sometimes I enjoyed it, sometimes I didn't. Simply because in some restaurants, when you're the bartender, you're the bitch. The biggest bitch of the entire bar, of the whole restaurant, because you're doing many
Everything by
jobs.
yourself.
You're doing everything.
You're serving, you're bartending.
That's why
and you're
you
making other
loved
people's
it.
drinks.
And that's why you sometimes.
loved it.
Oh yeah, it has its moments where you can love it, but it has its
I
moments where
lo-
there's
I
so
know.
much shit
But you
put
get
on
so
you.
weeded.
Weeded because there's so much.
You're making everybody else's drinks, and you're making
You
your
have to
drinks.
take care of your guests. You have to take care of the bar drinks, the tables. You have to take care of everybody at once. And not only that, on top of all the shit that's already going, sometimes you have to do to-go orders. And that depends on what night it is. If you have a partner who's just as good as you, if not, and you go from there.
I got accidentally put into a bar position. I started off as a cashier at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Then I worked as a waiter, and I thought, oh, I like working as a waiter. And then somebody said, hey, you know what? You have the personality. Why'd you come behind the bar? And I'm like, I don't know how to make drinks. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we're going to put you behind the bar.
Yeah.
So they put me behind the bar. And they're like, well, it's a small bar.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is make simple drinks.
Yeah.
And you're not going to do anything else.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You're
okay.
not making a, what is it called? A Vice, what is it, Miami Vice?
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
the first time that I saw Jigger, they said, hey, so you're going to pour this. You're going to make simple things like rum and Coke and that kind of thing. You're not going to make anything
Right.
super like
Just the basics.
just the basics. And then one day, I'm working the bar, and a customer goes, can I have a martini? And I'm like, I don't know what that is.
What's that?
Like a martini
So I
what?
had to
I know-
open a
I know
Oh,
book.
what
martini what?
Yeah.
So I had to open a book. And by the way, this was way before the internet. And I had to open a book.
Yeah, I remember the
Bartender's
little
Bible.
bar books.
The
Yeah.
bartender's Bible. And I had to open a
Damn.
book. And I'm like, looking at, I'm like, okay, so he asked for a martini.
Oh damn, he is an old school bartender.
So
Dude, goodbye, baby, get out.
So I opened the book, and it had all the instructions on how to make it
Yep.
a martini.
Not the
And I did it.
instructions.
And the guy's like, this is the worst martini I've ever had.
What was it?
And I went-
gin martini, vodka
No, it's
martini.
a vodka martini, and it had the vermouth and all this other
Did he
stuff.
want it
Yeah, I was gonna
clean,
say.
dirty,
Now he goes, look,
cooked, chilled, shaken,
how long have
stirred?
you been a bartender?
Smoked.
Damn near.
He asked me, how long have you been a bartender? And I
My
said,
first day.
I've only been a bartender for like a week, so I don't know. He goes,
I can tell.
let me tell you how to make a vodka martini. And I'm like, why would you even order that from this little tiny restaurant that nobody cares about?
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. So he goes, do you know what a shaker is? And I'm like, no, I don't know what a shaker is. So he points it out.
Over there.
And it was a silver little thing sitting
Yeah.
over there, and no one told me how to use it. And I'm like, okay. He goes, have you never used that before? And I'm like, no. He goes, oh, I'm going to teach you so many things tonight.
Yes.
And I'm like, and this was an older gentleman. And I'm like,
Everything.
okay.
Thank
So
God he
he
was
goes-
nice. Thank God he was nice.
So he goes, okay, so this is how you're going to do it. This is how I like my martinis. And I said, okay, we're going to make a vodka martini, and you're going to shake it. Now, you will never do this with gin. You will never, ever do this with gin. I'm just going to put this in your head, and I learned that from him. You're never going to do this with gin, but you can do it with vodka because vodka can handle it. So you're going to take some ice, and you're going to put it in a silver cup. You're going to pour the vodka in, and you're going to pour,
The gin.
and you're going to count to 8. And I said, okay,
8 count. Almost
I'll
double.
count to
A double,
8.
per se.
Yeah.
I'll count to 8. And then he goes, you're going to take the vermouth. This is what you're going to do with the vermouth. If you read that recipe, which is what you did when you made my first one, you put the vermouth in the vodka. Don't do that. Take the vermouth, put it in the glass,
Coat the glass.
and then swish it around and throw it out.
Yep.
I'm like, that's a waste of it. He goes, no, just listen to me. Throw it out.
Yep.
Because the glass is already got enough vermouth in it. Then you're going to shake that up. Oh, I want it dirty. So you're going to take a little bit of olive juice. And you're going to measure it to what I told you to measure it to.
8.
And he was having a good time. He was literally, and by the way, when I say older, I was 20-something years old. He was only 32.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he wasn't that much older than me. So he wasn't that much older than me. He was in there to get some to-go food for his parents.
Yeah.
And I worked in a restaurant that was pretty much close to Cracker Barrel kind of thing. And they had a little bit of a bar. So his parents lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And all he wanted was a decent martini.
That's it.
And he's like, I'm going to teach you how to make a martini.
And you went by the book, and he said, no, you got to fill it out.
And
Period.
he told me to shake it until it fell. He goes, shake the vodka.
Shake it until it fell.
Until the cup is super icy.
Yep.
And you want to throw it out because the cup is so full of ice. It burns your hand.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And he's like, just pour it in the glass. And that was that. And I made my first vodka martini.
Nice.
And from that point on, I tried to learn how to make vodka martinis after that.
Nice.
And the best place I learned how to make a vodka martini, Michael's Outpost, before they moved to Richmond. They were on
Did you work there? You work there?
No.
You just went there and watched?
No. One of my best friends said, hey, we're going to go to Michael's Outpost. It's a piano bar. Yep. This is one of my things in my head.
Michael's Outpost is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yes,
it's a hole in the wall.
Yeah, it is.
In my head, I was still young enough to remember, gays like show tunes. Mm-hmm. Because that's what I read in books. Gays like show tunes.
Wow.
This is what I read in books.
I believe you, but that's incredible.
Gays love show tunes. So I guess I have to like show tunes.
Do you remember what book you read by chance? Or
okay.
Yeah, I'm like so interested too.
Yeah, like
I was looking what I read.
What knowledge they give you.
Yeah, like I want to do the revamp version.
No, I'm gonna have to look it up because it's been a long time. It's been a long time, but I did read. Let's see. Who did I read?
When I learned how to bartend, I just kind of took it as a trade. I was taught on the go, and
no, I learned all this stuff. I didn't know what show tunes were. I needed to know.
I don't know, but I was still like
usually
the
every
gay
bar
divas.
They always had their own recipes.
Yeah, I needed to know who the gay divas were. And when I was reading the books, they were always like, "Oh, it's Diana Ross, and it's this, and it's that." And I'm like, "Wait a minute." When I was a kid, I loved Diana Ross. And
wasn't she the Beyonce of your day?
Yeah,
she was the Beyonce of my day. And I also love Barbra Streisand, but I loved her movies.
Barbra Streisand is good.
And I'm like, but Barbra Streisand, really? She had to be...
She's white.
No, I didn't...
It's like eating like unflavored
Actually,
chicken.
I didn't even see it that way. I just went, oh, okay, well...
I mean, she's a different collective of
I had to watch all her movies
if
because I'm like, if I want to be gay... I thought that being gay was a training thing. So I'm like, if I want to be gay...
And that's because
I need to know.
And I feel like the reason you think like that is because he read it through a book.
Yeah, he read it through. It's someone else's perspective. And you don't know if this person was living in like Arkansas or they were living in Maine, where it's like different culture than it is in Houston or in Mississippi or Florida. So it's like their perspective on being gay.
Yeah, because these were books that were written on...
So if they wrote about show tunes, they had to be in a big city.
Yeah, it was like Miss Manners writing...
Florida. I mean, New York. I was going to say New York.
I felt like all the books that I read were teaching me how to be in gay in situations with other gay men.
Yeah.
And how to be able to say, hey, yes, I like Barbra Streisand's movie, but I'm not really 100% sure why. Oh. And I'm like, wait a minute. I've watched all her movies... But I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
But I know them.
But you know,
so if at least I have all the, and then I'm like, wait a minute, but they have also all these black divas in here, and I'm like, but I grew up with Shaka Khan, and Diana Ross, and all these other girls, and I'm like, I know who these people are, so I think I could deal with that. But I also thought that being gay also meant that I had to be like super intelligent, and I had to know.
No,
art
girl,
and music and I read a lot of Oscar Wilde, and by the way, thankfully enough, I love Oscar Wilde, so I fell in love with all of his readings and everything else. So being gay to me was a learning experience.
Being cultured, I think, right?
Yeah, being cultured.
I think it's also like if you really want to know how it is, you have to live the experience.
Yes, agreed.
Because it's just like
it's different than what you read in a book. That's what, that was what my curiosity towards you was like. You read all these things in the book, and then when you actually live the reality and realize, okay, I'm sure you were comparing a lot of times. This is what I read.
I don't think I've told you this story.
Yeah.
This is what happened to me at Michael's Outpost.
Okay, tell us.
spill the
Michael's
tea.
Outpost.
Which, by the way, I love. And by the way,
It's a really good bar. I like
it's
to
a
go
really good
there.
bar.
If like when you're trying to if you're not trying to be in the monitor scene and you want to go somewhere different where like nobody's gonna bombard you with questions
Correct.
like, oh, I love your this, I love this, and you can go somewhere that's like hole in the wall.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know you, and I'm more than welcome to
Welcome
fucking
to my world. I remember the first time we hung out, like officially per se, it was by accident too. And I told him and his friend, you and Frankie, I was like, hey.
Letting you know, he's like, just letting you know, like, people are going to bombard me.
People are going to approach me and say hi and hello.
And it did happen, and I was like, do your own thing, dude. Like, literally do your own thing, because we're doing our own thing.
This is normal to me.
Yeah.
And if you're not used to it, don't be annoyed by it. If I bother you, I'm sorry.
We went to go smoke a cigarette, we went to go do, and then we came back, and then you came back to us.
But this is Scott. Scott is so easy to hang out with.
Yeah,
the first time.
Yeah, you are. You're very chill.
The first time we met on
Growler, and we did the video. We made the video thing,
and I put out a little notice on Growler.
He did like the wolf. I don't know if you know what Growler is.
Yes. So Growler has this thing where you can do like a super advertisement for $20.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know what? I've tried to do the show. I've lost all the people that I've done my show with before. And by the way, I started the show with a friend of mine who he and I had been doing this for quite some time, and then things got complicated, and he didn't want to do it anymore because he felt like it was too much work. And I'm like,
I want
to do the work and do all this stuff and see where we can go, but he didn't want to do that. And then I went through several different things, and then COVID happened, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this show by myself, and I don't have the personality to do this. So I'm going to put out the feelers.
He was just like looking for a co-host, really.
No, honestly,
you're conversational.
You were looking for. You're really good at conversation, but I feel like as far as like networking, like that's where I had
the problem. But I always felt like that if I was going to do a show, I need a person
sidekick,
to bounce,
a co-pilot,
a co-pilot to bounce stuff off.
You really do, because there's only so much shit you can say by yourself before you're like, who am I talking to? But when you have a person next to you, you can say, they can check you or let you know, like, bitch, what the hell are you talking about? Or can ask you questions that lead on to the next topic.
Yeah, so I set this thing out on Growler, and I'm like, I'm looking for a partner for the show. And several people answered, and he said, hey, I
literally had just moved here, like maybe a month in.
I love the confidence you had.
I know. I mean, I didn't give a fuck. His confidence stood out. He was like, well, you know what?
Like, hey, I was a drag queen living on the road for like a year now. Like, if you want some stories, I have plenty of stories where I lived in Kentucky, Albuquerque. Like,
and I talked to a couple of my friends at the time, and they were like, Joel, you need to talk to this guy. This guy might be somebody you want to talk to.
This is when I was working at the Eagle,
how
but
sometimes the universe brings people together.
Exactly.
When I started working at the Eagle, I didn't know. The way that I looked at it, I was like, I'm moving into a new city. I don't know anyone here. Period.
Correct.
And like, I want to make friends, and this person seemed very reliable, very good. Like, he doesn't want to.
This is way before the Eagle. This is way before he got any of those.
It's like
jobs.
when I was working at the Eagle, but I was also working at the Eagle 1 day a week.
Okay,
which is different.
This was also way before you even did that? You literally had just come here. You had just broken up with your boyfriend.
Yeah, I was spiraling.
After all, you had literally just broken up with all that stuff, and you were here. You were in a city that you did not know at all.
I moved here on a whim.
Yeah, and he answered my ad on Growler, and I said, "Why don't you come over?"
Okay.
And talk about it.
We didn't even come over. We did an online thing.
Yeah, we did an online thing.
FaceTime or
no? Like it was. I don't remember what it was. Just a FaceTune audio. I think.
No, you actually came over here.
No, the first time I didn't because
the first time you didn't.
No, because I remember I was like little because that's when I was working out.
What's that?
I don't do it no more. I don't know her.
The moment that he sat in front of the microphone and we started talking. He was
a natural.
I'm really good on like microphones and stuff.
And we just started talking, and he told me the whole story of what was going on with everything else. And
I feel like out of anyone that I've met here, you've progressively seen me work like at such a like shitty door job. It is a shitty door job,
essentially.
and to now like working at different like that fucking week I worked at Ripcord, at Buddies, and at Eagle back to back.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, I seen you at all these bars. Like, how are you allowed to do that? I was like, because I'm I'm a private contractor.
Yeah.
Like, I can work with whatever the fuck I want. Like, these are the days that I have off, and those days that I have off, I can work anywhere else because I.
But he talked about
you were in a position where it allowed you to. The door position allowed you to work anywhere.
Yeah.
Compared to being a bartender, compared to being.
I work at now I work at the shop at Eagle like twice a week, but that's also very questionable because I also do drag at Eagle, so somebody has to pick the shift.
Well, you know what? That's the time where you actually plan stuff.
Yeah. No,
if you're doing,
like I feel like my mind is so business oriented, and it's so bad because it's also so good because it's just like sometimes like my mind doesn't really have time to desensitize from making money, and then when I come here, it's actually like a good like it's like a good fresh of breath air because I actually get to like hang out and like do stuff because like I'm always working, I'm always like in this industry of like, you know, meeting people, hang out with people, but I'm also working, so I can't drink with them.
You know, I get a little worried because you know, we have not done a show where it's just us in quite some time.
Yeah.
And
should I leave the room now?
No, you can stay in the room.
Would you guys like some privacy?
No, you can stay in the room.
I think we should kind of get back.
You can just say it. I think we're comfortable with each other.
No, Julio's been doing his thing, but I just really want to let you know that I missed you, girl.
I miss you too, bitch.
I miss you, girl, and we have not done a show in quite some time.
Yeah. Mama, you've been missed.
And I was worried.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest here. I was worried that maybe he might go, you know what, Joel? I'm now back in the scene.
Oh, okay. I don't have time for
your little podcast. I don't
know.
You were worried he was going to outgrow you.
Yeah,
no, I told him since day one I wouldn't because it's just like the first opportunity that I got into doing something that I was comfortable in.
Well, I'll put it this way: if he does quit, I'll stand in for him.
No, I'm not really worried.
I'm coming for your spot. I'm coming for your spot,
really
bitch. I'm on the road. Fights behind the mic, pulls wig, scratches
like right
you.
now, the queens are fighting.
You ain't shit. You ain't nobody. I'm gonna take your job and your man.
Period.
All I can say is I'm not worried because when he asked me to help him, when it came to his thing on when it came to getting his thing on at Buddies when he was he said, Joel, can you help me just do the measurements? And I'm like,
yeah.
Yes, I can do that.
And thank you for doing that, by the way.
And by the way, we hadn't done a show in a couple of weeks, and I was worried that you were going to tell me that you didn't want to do it.
Well, my last guest,
but you have been.
Here, yeah.
But I have to tell you this: you have been. I've been
nonstop. You've been nonstop. I haven't had a day off. My next day off in like the past 3 weeks.
Gosh, Scott, I'm sorry you're making so much money.
Shut up, bitch.
Yeah, but stop.
But the next day off is going to be when I'm in Seattle Saturday afternoon.
But stop.
FYI, I will give you some advice on this.
Charlotte,
do prioritize time for yourself outside of your business.
I do.
But Charlotte, stop.
To an extent.
You have to breathe.
Even if
exactly. Even if it's like a day or two with like 2 days off consecutively from like take a break from orders.
When I can sleep until work. When I can sleep until noon.
Because you need that stuff like that. Whether you realize it recharges your battery, you're gonna notice it will recharge you.
I'm worried about him because he's like, you know, I thought that I was worried about the fact that he would tell me, Joel, I can't do your show anymore. I cannot do this.
Because it's going to get to that point. Believe it or not, that's why he's worried.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to get to that point because
I'm worried about that.
You're going to start getting so busy that at one point you're going to look like, okay, I need to let go of one thing so I can for my sanity.
Yeah.
And I know that this show is not like super popular, and I realize that, but I'm really worried.
Because I'm not on board yet.
I feel
but I'm here now, and you have nothing. So you know what, Scott? You can go ahead and go now.
Bye, guys. No, but I really do enjoy the show because the show actually just lets me decompress and like live this fantasy of like talking to people, but there's also not like,
you know, and I love
not
that
here,
shit.
Not here. There's people like around us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just 3 of us here. Period. Yeah. There's not 30 of us here at a bar where I can just talk to my friends.
Would you ever consider doing this podcast at a bar?
I would love to.
Please.
I would love to.
If I can get this approved, would you?
Yes, I would love to.
Can
you imagine?
And would you interview random strangers?
Yes.
Can I tell you this? And I'm
Oh my
really
god, this is happening.
Yes. This is such.
This
This
is gonna be the next
Okay.
artist showcase. So
Okay. Can I really tell you this?
Yes.
Because I'm going to be honest. You know what? The fact of the matter is that Charlotte has come in, and she has been the thing. And guess what has happened since she came? She came in and said.
So here's another. Go ahead.
Let me say this, please. She came in and she decided to help me with my show, and she came in to do that. And ever since then, she has been amazing.
Look how important you are to him. That's what he's trying to tell you.
Yes, exactly. So
We've had
the
really good
problem
guests
is,
on here too.
but the problem is that I feel like that maybe she doesn't need me anymore.
I don't think so.
If
It's not
she's going
that.
to tell me that.
I don't
And then
think
what
so.
am I
I
supposed
told
to do?
Julio about this podcast for like a minute, and I was like, "This is
So-
the day," and then this is the day. This is the day that we're
I
doing.
know. So when I went to help her, and by the way, when I went to help you on Monday, I did it because I wanted to make sure.
So, if I may,
Yeah.
if it sounds like you have worries. I'm just being the therapist here.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have worries
Mm-hmm.
that you're spreading yourself so thin that you're gonna look one day and go, "Hey, what's more important? Do I really need to do this podcast?"
But
And
I
so-
feel like that
but
I
so far-
have to carry this.
yeah.
And I feel like that I have to carry this.
So what he's doing now is acknowledging you. Say thank you. Your contribution has meant a lot to.
Yes, exactly.
him.
And I
And
do
a-
appreciate it, and it's not like I.
But you have helped me get to a place
Yeah.
that I have never been before. So now I'm going
right.
to have to work to do that.
And that's why I go back to telling you, like, even though you are busy right now, Scott, and even though your business is growing on all
Yeah.
sides,
like
take
drag,
time-
jock straps, fucking doing other
take
shit.
time for yourself.
And you're 100.
And
You're
you have to.
and
And I sound
Yes.
cliche. I
And
sound
by
like
By
a
the way,
broken record.
I've been telling you that for quite some time. You
You
need
ha-
some
yeah.
time to
Take it-
take some
yeah.
time
Not
for
that-
yourself.
And when I say take time, that does not mean travel to a city. That doesn't mean go get away from everybody. No, it means in your own city, in your own time, schedule
Yeah.
your own breaks.
Okay.
Well, the way that I'm looking at it is when I'm going to Seattle next weekend,
Or hire help.
and yeah,
Honestly, like
Yeah.
hire somebody who can help you make your jock straps.
yeah,
Hire-
I want you to-
I've considered that.
Are you going to Seattle to like play, have a good time?
I'm gonna go see my guy that I'm dating.
Are you going to
friend.
play, have a good time, do your thing?
I'm not taking a sewing machine. There's no
No.
work. The only thing is that I'm taking is
And you're not going to do the show. You're not going to do any of the stuff. You're
I'm going to
do.
completely black
This is-
out.
yeah.
Like I'm gonna.
Oh my
It's
God!
you time.
Thank
You
you.
time. Is what
and
you're
it's just
saying.
like that's the first time that I'm able to do that in a very long
But
time.
also, what you need to realize the importance of taking breaks and making time
Yeah.
for yourself. It helps you recharge.
yeah, and
It
I'm happy
helps you.
because
And by the way-
I'm gonna be there for 6 days.
Because then you can come back to it more refreshed, and you'll see. Okay, well now that I came back 2 days, oh, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Oh, this is because when you're in it, you're just go,
Yeah.
and you're on to the next, on to the next, on
and
to the
like
next.
yeah, we talked about this earlier, like having in like a mental calendar.
And by
Like,
the way,
you-
Scott, I'm sorry. I missed you for quite
I
some
know,
time.
I miss, and it was so nice. It was so refreshing
You know,
to see you.
I'm sorry. I cooked the meals.
Yeah,
He and I would hang out and watch TV together. That kind of. I missed him. I have missed him for so long,
There you
and
go.
I know he's been super busy. And
This is why you need. days
I
off
just
in between
wanted
so you
to
can
say
do
that
these kind of
I
things.
understand that I kind of put him there because I wanted him to get back into the
But-
community,
Not-
but I didn't realize that it was going to be this much.
Yeah, but not.
I didn't think
not
so
speaking
either,
for
Joel.
You,
I
though.
did not think so either.
No, neither did I.
because
And-
we thought I was just gonna do a drag show every
Yeah,
month, and I
know.
was just like,
but now you're leading all kinds of things and you're doing
But
stuff.
at the same
and
time, and speaking in your defense, and maybe I'm sorry,
Yeah.
this is my observation.
Yeah.
You worked for this at the same
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
And it's
This
just
is
like
where
it's
you
what I
wanted-
want,
This
and
is
it's
where you
just
want
like
it to be.
I told myself, I'm like, I'm so tired of like. I used to take care of my ex, like everything.
yeah,
And it's
exactly.
just like,
But I do the same thing. I wanted to make sure that he got his. He talked about, and by the way, if you go back to earlier episodes,
Yeah.
he talked about what he did when he was in Florida,
Okay.
and how he took care of all the queens in Florida. My
I used
God.
to run shit. I used to run shit
He
in Florida.
used to run shit.
I was one of the biggest names. Like
Yeah, he
whenever
used
you
to
would
run
think of
shit.
South Florida,
And
I'm
you're
like,
on your way
I
of
know.
doing that
Yeah,
here.
he's
I know.
on his way to do it, and I wanted him to do it
and
because
I'm also like coming in different dynamics. I'm not coming only for like drag. I'm also coming
Different
for
venues.
underwear.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
also coming like if I ever can become a bartender, like y'all bitches are over.
You have to listen to the episodes that we actually.
That's the way you'd kind of have to do it in today's day. You
Yeah,
have
but
to be
you have to
good at
listen-
more than one thing.
Yeah, and it's like I'm very eclectic. If people want me to do something, I'll do it for them.
Yeah.
Like
But you have to listen to the episodes where he really did talk about it, and he really did get there.
if you listen to, I think our first episode together was
Yes.
Drag Queen in the RV, was just a very like, I was also mentally at a unstable place because I had just lost everything that I worked for, and I put everything in my car and I moved to
Yeah.
Houston. And it was just like I was at such a mental
But
bad
after
place.
that-
But like progressively, like those people that listen to us,
But if you listen-
will tell you that
So I
I
get the sense that you're a survivor.
Yeah.
oh very yeah
Like you're quick adapting.
Yeah,
You're
very.
like if I lose it, I lose it, but I can start again.
absolutely no because everything that I lost, I don't.
But
care
I love
for.
the way you're like speaking in the mantras terms. I love the way you're doing it in mantras, where it feels organic. And what I love about you, and I will give you compliments, is you're authentically yourself.
yeah, and it's like I don't
Because
give a fuck.
I've seen many people come and go, and they try to be something they're not.
No.
And they can't keep up with it. And that's why I always tell people. That's one of my. Somebody
like, I
asked
know,
me.
I've been
Somebody
doing-
asked me the other day, like, what advice would you give? Be yourself.
Absolutely.
At all times. Don't try to be something
Because
you're
it's just
not.
like if you're trying to do, because I see something like I feel like Houston is very they want a certain thing, and then I was like, okay, like I don't want to say I mold myself, but I can extend an arm
And I
in
love-
that venue, in that sense.
But I think that you two together, and I'm going to say this, I think that you two together are going to change the landscape when it comes to
we try.
entertainment.
I feel like I try in
yeah,
my,
you did,
feel
you
like
my
that-
own
you
way.
did, yeah,
I
you
feel
did,
like-
even by yourself, you've done a good thing. And
Yeah, I
just
feel like that you have a thing that you guys are going to work on. You're going to change the landscape when it comes
And
to
that takes
the
work. It
entertainment.
takes work. It's not. It doesn't come overnight.
no,
No,
and
it
you've
doesn't
done
come
and you've done
overnight, but it
It's
comes
like-
with the idea of as long as you find people who can get behind that,
Yes.
that's exactly what you need.
It's that's how I started. When I started, it's kind of similar to Scott's situation. When I applied at Eagle.
Yes, tell us the story.
So the build up to that story. So I was working in the restaurant still. I was a waiter who was training to be a manager, who was about to be a manager the week I got fired. So basically, I'll never forget that I was working at P.F. Chang's at the time, and I came into the shift. This is where I was later on. I came to certain realizations.
Yeah.
But, so I was at P.F. Chang's. I was working the shift, and I was one of the 4 o'clock people because they break the shifts down 4, 5, the 4 o'clock and the 5 o'clock.
You get out early.
Yeah.
You go in early. You get out early.
But I was always a closer. I always loved closing
Okay,
my shifts
yeah.
because I was one of those servers that believed, like, look, if I'm gonna come here to make my money and go
Period.
home. Minimum,
And
I
like
wanna
the
make
last
that.
hour, you get those people that like come in and they know that.
Stragglers.
Yep, absolutely. So
So
I'll take care of you. Give
I
me your
remember
money.
I came in for this 4 o'clock shift, 4 p.m. shift, and the morning people were just eager to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
As always.
I'm not like that.
But but when you work restaurants long enough, you know that you just. I was one of those veterans that just knew that I just had to come in a little bit early, restock certain things because I knew that the morning closers did not give a fuck. Even if you asked them nicely, they might
didn't do their
restock the
thing.
straws and then they'll hide from you and then run away to the parking lot and go home.
Yep.
And so I remember that when I came to the shift, all the tables were dirty. They were busy, gagging, playing around, texting.
But it's just like, get your shit together because
So,
we can't move on with
I
this
started
restaurant.
cleaning tables. I was mad about it, but I was doing it because I wanted to get tables.
Yeah, because absolutely.
So then
And it just looked like the restaurant looked pretty.
Yeah, so then I remember finally got caught up, and then I get this one guy that sits at a table with me. He sits at a booth at my section, and I was taking care of him, but he was one of those guys that was just reading a book. He wasn't really talkative. He was just reading his book.
Yeah.
And I'm a very attentive person, especially when
Yeah.
it came to like serving. I was always that server that came around. Are you guys doing okay? Or sometimes I didn't even ask you. I would just bring you the refill without you having to ask.
Yeah,
me,
absolutely.
things of
Just
that
making sure
nature.
that they you want bread here. Bitch.
So at this point, it was the 4 o'clock shift. The hostess didn't get there till 5. So I'm sitting myself. And so I'm taking care of him. Everything's good. And at one point, I get a second table, which is a family. It was like a 5-top.
Yeah.
I sit them in another booth. I'm taking care of them. So I'm back and forth between them two. And as the family's finishing their meal, they asked for dessert. The guy was still reading his book. He was eating real slow, taking his sweet time. So I wasn't even, and it wasn't even busy yet. So I wasn't worried about getting him in and out. I was just worried about making sure he was cool.
Yeah.
And I remember that the family asked for a dessert. And so I go to the back to the kitchen.
Yeah.
I set up the tray. I get the plates. And I realize I don't have forks. Oh, shit, I need some forks. So I go to dish. and grab my forks and clean them. At this point, the desserts already came out. I had them on the tray, ready to go. So I was standing back there wiping the things down, cleaning the clean forks and making sure they're good to go. When I come back around to the front again of the kitchen, I look at my tray and I was like, who the fuck just ate my dessert? And then I see the food runner was like, oh, that wasn't a mistake? No, motherfucker. That was my dessert for that table.
Yeah.
Why didn't you ask it? Well, I just saw it there and it was abandoned. I thought it was just a free dessert for us, so I started eating it. And I was like, really? Really, you piece of shit? And so I talked to the dessert guy. I was like, hey, homeboy here ate my fucking dessert. Can you make me another one, please? So yeah, I'll make it, but that one in particular would take like 10 more minutes. So I'm like, fine. So I go and talk to the family, and I said, hey guys, just let you know, this is the situation. But
yeah, absolutely. If you communicate with the customers,
and they were so chill, they were so cool about it. Oh, that's fine, no problem, not a big deal. So I get more focused about taking care of the dessert. So I keep going back and forth, and I forget about the other guy.
Yeah.
You know what?
I completely forget about the guy that I was taking care of.
Can I tell you guys something? Because we're gonna, I think we're gonna get to the end.
Okay.
And it's been fun. You have other obligations, and so do you.
Yeah.
So I want to get to the end of this, and I want people who listen to this to understand something. There are two people. I'm sorry, I said two, and that's not right. There are three people at this table who believe in the gay community in this city.
Yeah.
And I think that the three of us have already started on a path on how this is going to be spectacular. I started with meeting a person who knew that they were going to do something the moment they came here. They started from nothing and they moved here, and now I'm watching him grow.
Yeah, people always come up to me. They're like, "You moved here like 5 months ago. How the fuck does everybody know?"
Because they're not used to seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody
and I'm just like, I have merch, I have shit, and then like I haven't even released my shirt merch. I have shirt merch, and I'm just like, you guys aren't ready for that.
And I started this podcast with the idea of how much I love the Houston gay community.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And knowing that I love it and how to make it grow and to see it, and then realizing that to do it, I can get out there in the world to do it, which I'm not one of those people to do it. I'm like a huge nerd. I'm more happy with sitting in front of my computer, playing video games and everything else, not worried about that stuff. And I'd been long since. I literally told the stories of my youth and coming out into the gay culture and everything else, but I never really talked about the fact that after that and becoming so disillusioned and realizing that being gay was not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like this magical thing that was going to change my life.
You went by what you saw, what you
thought it was going to be a
But
Cinderella story.
I realized that I had to deal with the same racism. I had to deal with the same stupidity. I had to deal with the same ideas of objectivity and body issues.
That's
and all
what's
this other stuff.
It's a little bit more. What is it
like
called? It's a little bit more concentrated too.
But guess what happened? Guess what happened? I got to hang out with millennials.
Yeah.
And I got to see the idea of what they wanted.
Yeah.
And for the first time I went, that's what I wanted. But whereas I was the only person who said it, and everybody else around me told me not to think it, now it's completely different.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Now, let me finish that story because it leads into how it'll lead into how I started working in Montrose, and it changed my life forever. And it's the reason I want to finish the story because it's one of those things where I feel like at times either if you're not in the right path in life, life will go out of its way to let you know, no, baby, this way, you got to go this way, and that's what happened to me. So I was taking care of that table. The kid ate the dessert. I made, and I went back to the table. Hey, oh my God, your dessert was so good that the back waiter, the food runner ate it. But you know what? The next one's coming out. That's going to be on us because you had to wait so long for that thing to come out. And they thought it was the funniest thing in the world. They were like such a cool table, really easy going. But I was so focused on getting them that dessert again that I forgot about that guy. When I finally remembered, I come around the corner and I go, "Hey man, I'm sorry. How are you? How are you doing? Okay? Yeah, I'm good. Can I get my check, please?" And I said, "Yeah, for sure, no problem." I go get his check. I drop it off. Gives me the credit card. Close the tab out. I set the book down. Thank you, sir. Have a great day. And I start walking away. And as I'm walking away, he goes, I'm really disappointed. And so I pause as I'm walking away. Like, I stopped in my tracks. And I go, and I turn around. And I look at him and I don't understand what you mean by that, sir. Can you explain what you mean that you're disappointed? Or the service, the food, what was it? I'm disappointed in you. Okay, how so, sir? Well, everything started out great, but you forgot about me, and you... Oh, okay. So you probably thought... And I looked at it and said, oh, okay. You thought that I was lollygagging and playing around. Let me actually tell you what happened. And so he's sitting at a booth, and I take the liberty of sitting down with him. Mind you, we're not busy. There was just 3 tables in the restaurant at the moment. I sit across from him, and I was going to explain the story. Like, no, let me tell you what happened. When I tell you the moment I sat down on that booth, this man screamed at the top of his lungs, as loud as he can scream. Get up right now. I didn't say you could sit down. So I get up, and at this moment, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, why is this motherfucker screaming? I didn't say you can sit down. Who said you could sit down? So I get up and I start, okay, fine. Let me go get a manager. I'll be right back.
Absolutely.
I am so
That's
sorry about that.
do.
But mind you, I'm controlling myself. I'm like, because I could easily flip out.
Yeah.
And I'm walking away with being yelled at. My table, who I just took care of, they're laughing. They saw what was happening. They're embarrassed for me. Secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah. They're like, oh god.
And as I'm walking away, once again, this guy yells, "Yeah, you better go get a fucking manager." Once again, loud, to the top of his lungs.
Yeah.
In that moment, I stopped once again in my tracks. I'll never forget it. I turned around, marched all the way back, and got in this motherfucker's face and yelled at the top of my lungs, "If you don't chill the fuck out, I'm going to beat the fuck out of you." Loud as I could. And it literally, you heard forks. At this point, you heard forks dropping, people going in the background. And in that moment, I realized, fuck.
Like, I fucked up.
And mind you, every restaurant I ever worked at, I was always the trainer. I was always the guy that was I was up there in those
But there's those people that are like,
I talk people out of it. Hey, don't let that guy fuck up your day.
Yeah.
It's not your fault, his fault. Hey, you didn't do anything wrong. It was him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And mind you, in that point, it was like 13 years of working in the restaurant industry. That's never happened to me, but it happened. So I knew instantly in that moment when the situation was going down, I already knew I was fired. At that point, the 5 o'clockers were coming in, and they saw the whole thing. And they're in the background like, "Oh shit! Did you hear that?" And they all rushed to the back alley to the service window, the food window, and my manager's on duty by out food, and they bombard her. "Oh my god, Julio, customer yelling, fight! You need to."
Yeah.
She's like, "What's going on?" I walk by her and I said, "Hey, table so and so, I just cussed him the fuck out. I know I'm fired. I'll be in the office. I have your money ready for you, and I'm just gonna go home after that." Mind you, that same week, after that shift, I was going into management training. Like the next shift, they were gonna send me to another store to train, and so because of that, all that got canceled, and nothing. So now I got fired from that job. I wasn't gonna be a manager anymore. And I thought at that moment, this is the end. This is it. Fuck, I'm done for. Like, what do I do? So luckily, I remember that I have worked a brief period of time at the Sugarland P.F. Chang location.
Yeah.
And so my GM at the Baybrook location said, "No, I can't have you here for what happened. And, I can't even suspend you for you. I have to fire you. I don't want to, but I have to." I said, "That's cool. But if I go work at the other store, is that okay?" She's like, "Technically, I would say yes, but that's not my call. That's the GM of that store's call. Let me call him. He was actually my mentor. Let me talk to him." And luckily, I was cool with him too. She calls him, talks to him, and he's like, "Yeah, he can come work over here." Because technically, Baybrook, Sugarland, two worlds apart. So I was never going to see that guy again. Fast forward, I'm working in Sugarland, and I remember that in that moment, I was like, I want to work at the gay bars. I want to work at the bar scene. I don't want to be in the restaurant business anymore. I'm done with it. I'm over it.
Yeah.
So I go over to
It's different working at gay bars than it is at restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can actually yell at someone and they'll get away with it.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of my restaurant.
But
Get the fuck out of the bar.
I've always said
you can kick them out.
People in food are a different animal than people in drinks.
Yeah.
You fuck up somebody's food, you ruin their mood for the entire night. You fuck up somebody's drink, 5 seconds later, here's your new drink, baby. I'm sorry about that. My bad. You said Sprite, I gave you soda. That was my fault.
Like, here, babe, this is on me. Sorry.
So then, like, as I'm working in Sugarland, I applied at Eagle. I had spoken to Charles. Yeah, cool. I turned in my application to the shop, whatnot. 2 days later, I get a call from Joe.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, hey, I know you applied for bartender, but all those positions are filled right now.
That's what he told me, too.
Would you be okay working the door? And I said, and at that particular point, I had already applied at every bar in the neighborhood, and every single bar said no to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it. You know what? I don't mind doing it. But Eagle was actually I didn't even know Eagle existed. I didn't even know what an Eagle was.
Yeah.
So when I went and applied there, that was the very last bar that I went to apply at. And that's the first bar that called me back. And then Joe said, and I said, look, I'll take the door spot. I have no problem sacrificing myself doing the door, but how long before I can get behind the bar? He said, honestly, that could be anywhere from 3 months to a year, depending on what you work, depending on your work ethic, it all depends on a lot of things. We won't, if you're not known and we don't know your work ethic, we're not just going to throw you behind the bar and so forth and so on. I said, okay, bet. I accept the challenge. So he hired me and I started working the door. And then I started doing some things that the other door guys weren't doing. I started promoting myself at the door as a door guy. Yeah. Hey, I'm at the door 9 to 2. Yeah. Come see me. That's where the I'll be behind the bar started. My little phrase. I call it my phrase. I'll be behind the. I used to say I'll be at the door 9 to 2 for 8 to 2 for example. And in that moment, I started networking with people. Hey, I'm Julio, by the way. Hey, add me on Facebook. Hey, add me on Facebook. Yeah. And as a door guy, I would promote for the bar. Hey, these are the specials. I'll be at the door during this shift. These are the bartenders that are working. Come through. Come see us. Come do this. Come do that. So, fast forward like 3 months later, we get a new GM. And he's like, man, I see your hustle. I see who was the
GM before?
Dustin.
Okay.
So, it was when I got there.
To Dan?
When I got there, it was Josh.
Okay.
But it was Josh's last month. And from what I'm understanding, Josh used to be a very hardcore boss, very militant, very do this, do that, my way or the highway. But when I got there, was this last month, he had checked out. He was actually really easy to work with. And then after him, they promoted another bartender, Dustin, to become the GM. Dan was his assistant GM.
Oh, wow.
Then Dustin quit, and then Dan got the GM position. Yeah. But when Dustin was the GM, he's like, hey, I see your hustle. I see what you're doing at the door. I see how you promote. I see how you're engaging with people. I see, okay, I see your work ethic. Do you want to be a bartender? I was like, yes, this is what I signed up for. This is what I wanted. This is how I wanted to do it. So
I think that's what Dan sees in me too, because he's like, you're not a door persona. You're like an actual like socially in here in Houston.
Yeah. And
he's just like, that's why I don't do the door anymore. And he is looking for door people because he doesn't want to put me back on the door.
Yeah.
And like, I also even promote the fucking shop. The day that I promoted the shop with the poppers, like there was a bunch of people that like, oh, like, can I get some VHS cleaners? Like, yeah, what do you want? 20 or 35?
Come through. Come get them.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that sets you apart in Montrose. It's like either you want it or you don't.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately that you have to like clout chase, which is like
at first.
Yeah, but then once and I feel like right now I'm clout chasing, but I'm also clout chasing appropriately.
Yes,
where it's to an extent where I'm not like.
And speaking of clout, which is I feel like you're at a point also where you can stand on your own.
Yeah, because I was like, I have my clout from Florida, I have my clout from Kentucky, and I have my clout from Albuquerque. Like, these people still like my pictures. They still comment on. So it's just like, there's like probably 10 people that like my picture from Houston, and then I have like all my people.
What stands people out in Montrose is when you come in there with the intention to succeed, and you come prepared to succeed. It's like
I just want to be the best.
When Oprah says his luck is preparation and what was the other one? And she says preparation, anticipate, something like that.
Well, I would like to think that I already found the person who could do that, and that was him.
Yeah. And
I know that the moment that he got into Montrose, that he would figure that out.
Hell yeah.
And I've been like, and you've seen it in me. You asked me to do your thing. And my thing was successful at your place, too.
Yes,
very
successful. By the way, you changed my show. Completely changed my show. The moment that you sat down here and had a conversation with me, you changed my show.
And we've had multiple. We had different people.
Yes, exactly.
People from Norway. People from. My friend Lolita that we interviewed here. She's gonna be here next week or next month.
You know who the biggest thing was is the fact that I saw. Oh Lord, yes, it was her.
Is it Blackberry?
Blackberry, and she showed the iconic picture, and I went, "Oh, this is so iconic!
I love her.
It's ridiculous."
Yeah, but I've
And
known.
then to see
The
it-
reason why I moved to
And
Houston is because of
was
BlackBerry.
the first person.
Yeah.
Because-
BlackBerry was the first person on here who changed everything, and it made and
The
by the way-
algorithm here.
Nice.
By the way, I love you, but it was the fact of the matter that here I am doing this show.
Yeah.
To try to
And
get
BlackBerry has
everybody-
done ever since we were the first
To try to get
podcast BlackBerry's on, and BlackBerry's been on multiple podcasts since
After
then.
then, nice.
and she was able to do that on my podcast.
Yeah,
For her to sit down and do that.
And I love podcasts.
And
I've actually
Yeah.
gotten into podcasts this year. Actually, right in 2020, not because of COVID, because I'm a conversation person.
yeah,
I love
it's like
conversation.
being part of the conversation
Yes.
is the thing,
I love hearing people go back and forth, share stories.
and it's also like a very interactive thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
As
But
opposed to
sit
filming
down
a video.
with BlackBerry, and she and I really had a conversation.
Yeah, y'all were like fucking besties with testes, bitch.
Okay.
We were having a conversation, and she was telling me everything else, and I'm like,
She
oh
went
my
in.
God. She went in, and I went in because I investigated everything that I needed to do,
Yeah.
because that's what I have to do.
Did you investigate me? No.
He
Okay.
already knew you. He already knew you because he met you at
Yes, I did.
yeah,
Yeah, I did.
at Buddy's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
That day.
That's how I was like. I told him like, hey, the
Yeah,
next
that
person that's
Monday.
gonna be here, like this
Yeah,
is the
I
day
did.
that we're coming in.
You're like the thing for buddies, and
You
when
are.
you and I were
Thank
talking,
you.
and you were doing all the stuff to.
And you were like super promoting me, and like
Fuck,
I
that's why
commend
we're
you
doing-
so much, Julio, because
Yeah.
it's just like
Thank you.
people ask me to do things and then they like don't put their backbone into it,
Behind
and then
it and-
you were there, like you're like, this is what I got,
Thank you.
and I really commend that because it was amazing that you actually,
appreciate
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much.
I'm so glad to have you on the show because
Yeah.
you were supposed to be here.
Thank you.
When you came up to do everything for him,
Yeah.
when it came to the
and I
thing,
appreciate it. I do appreciate it, and it's just like
And-
my
By
my
the
level
way-
of royalty and everything is very high for you,
that's
and
all
like
because you're. And then that's when I went, oh my God, this guy's gonna,
yeah, because I told him
That's
I was
why
like
you're
the
on
guy,
my show.
yeah, I'm like.
That's why you're on the show.
I told him like the guy that helped us at Buddy's, the one that was like doing the jock straps, is like the guy that's gonna be next to her. She's
because
like, oh,
you're
he's like, okay.
that guy.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's like what we were talking about earlier. I didn't start overnight. It didn't happen overnight.
No,
No, you
it's
didn't.
a very hard work.
But
I
when you
worked
told your
for it.
story,
I built it up.
When you told your story, it's exactly what I did when
Yeah.
he came here.
Yep.
I did the same thing that he did. I
You
want
know how
him
many?
to do the.
I literally at the time. Sorry to interrupt you. At the time, I applied at every fucking
exactly.
bar that was hot at the time.
Exactly. I
You know
did
what
the
each
same
bar
thing.
told me, and I realize it now why they did that.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah, exactly.
What's your
I did the same
Facebook?
thing.
How many followers do you
The
have?
moment that
Do you have regulars? I'm sorry, dude. Where did you work before? And I would say no, nowhere.
And it's the truth.
And
it's,
they were like,
it's the
oh,
truth.
okay, so
And like,
The
look at you
moment that he
looking
came
back
here-
on your life like that. I don't know if you reflected on life.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And it's just like, and like people like for me now, like even the jockstrap thing or
And the
even
crazy thing
the
is,
shot thing.
Eagle. I didn't know
I went-
shit about it before I applied there. It was where I got hired, and that
He
was
told
my,
I called him the night before. I said, "Hey, do you need me to do anything?" He's like, "No, I don't need." Wait, I think I might need something.
Yeah,
for-
because I was gonna do it by myself, and then I was like, actually, if you could come and help me take measurements.
and I
And
told you.
if
You're
I-
gonna need
yeah,
somebody.
dude, he
And
did
by
tell
the way,
me. He did tell me.
it made me get out there in the world because if I'm gonna do this,
yeah.
But you know what I want to do next is this podcast at the bar,
yes,
and
I would love to
I'm
do
gonna
that.
find a way to get that approved. I have to get that approved first. Like I told him when I did his show, like when he did the drop
Okay,
local
but-
artists.
I'm all about him.
But we can maybe do this podcast and just like interview people like, hi, who are you from?
Yeah, random.
You've done so much.
You can do a podcast at a bar outside of this
I don't know
studio
how to
setting.
do that because
You can plug it in all. Just bring the basics.
We
that
can
you
even
need.
go outside.
No,
We
it's
can go
not
outside
that.
and
It's not
record.
that. It's not that. You have been the focus of that, and I'm trying to figure out how do I do that because I
So-
have to be.
I'm gonna leave that up to you guys as homework. Figure out how you can take this.
No,
on the-
it's the idea of that he is the.
If we do that, I'll come and drag.
yeah. Oh, that'd be
I'll bring- yeah.
fucking awesome.
And
But you told me to come and drag. I was like,
Well,
Julio, I
watched
love you,
it.
bitch. I was
I watched him
like,
in
I love you,
drag.
bitch, but I cannot come and drag because
Because
I'm
some of the
aware.
first
Watch
pictures
him
I was
in
promoting.
drag.
Yeah, I was like,
watch him
yeah.
in drag. I watched him in drag.
I picked
the
out your picture. You're like,
entire
why
time.
that picture? I was like, I like it.
And a lot of people actually, that's every time every time people go through my Instagram and they tell them that I follow me, it's like they always pick that picture. I was like, that picture is so not me.
But you started with me, and then I watched you.
Yeah, and Joel has seen me
But I want
progress.
both of y'all to do this podcast live on a Monday, which is typically a more chill night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Random people can approach you. Y'all can do.
Now I'm gonna have to do that.
We can do it.
No, it's
Bring a
it's
laptop.
No, it's the thing. You have already been doing stuff, and you've been doing stuff for a while.
Well,
And
Mondays are my
I'm
usually
not
day off, and
really
like we can do it
that
Monday.
great.
Yeah, on a Monday for sure.
I'm not really that great at doing stuff. Now I'm gonna do this, and
We can do it in public,
you
and we'll
have
take.
been doing this for quite some time. I'm not really good at this.
I have
You've been
faith in
doing-
you, Joel. If you were telling people when you were measuring them,
I've
like
seen
come to
all
Daddy
your
to get their
shows.
measurements.
I've seen all your shows, and you've been doing that great when it comes to your shows. But I'm not that great at that. Now I'm going to have to do this. I now realize that I'm going to have to do this. I'm not really that great at this.
But you're doing good though. We'll figure it out. We'll,
You are good at this. You're doubting yourself right now, but you are very
And
good at what you
I
do.
really hope that
When
you
he
know that
started
you.
doing this
The
stuff,
thing is,
what he said? He said, Joel, guess what's happening? I'm now going to start doing shows at Ripcord. And when he told me that, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to do shows at Ripcord.
I don't think you're losing him at all. I think he is getting busier.
Yes,
but he's still making time for you.
Yes, but he's still doing.
Like he hasn't.
But
lost,
I've watched.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking.
I'm
No,
sorry.
you can. You know, you're right.
I'm sorry.
You're right.
His
But-
Christmas show, was it the Christmas show
Yeah.
where he had to pull out?
I feel like this is the alcohol talking.
No, where he had to pull
I just
out.
want to let you know.
No, where
You're
he
like
had to
the best
pull out, what was it? He had to pull
Was that
out
a
the
signal to stop?
chocolate thing that I did not
Oh,
like.
the poop
that
thing?
Yeah, the poopy thing. I was.
It was very
No, but-
grotesque, but can I tell you that number?
I know.
That number also got for the and Piero told me. Piero said this is the first time the bar got really quiet to watch a
know.
drag show.
I know.
That was the first time the
And I
bar,
literally-
For what number?
everybody
By the way-
for my fisting number, the poop number.
Oh, okay.
He's like, that's the first
Oh,
time.
I
that,
have that on video. I sent you
Yep.
those videos.
I know.
And he's
But
like, that's the
funny
first
thing
time that
is-
the bar got quiet to watch a show because you were so enticing.
Yeah.
And like your shit was so grotesque, but so intriguing and so entertaining.
You weren't
Exactly.
you weren't overly gross, but it
No.
was intriguing. It was curiosity all in one.
Yeah,
because the
because
way you did
everybody
it was
was quiet.
tasteful.
Yeah,
is what
it wasn't, like,
Unfortunately, your fisting session was tasteful.
I did it yesterday
Yes,
at the Eagle.
exactly. It was
Like everybody's like,
fantastic.
can you do that number at the Eagle? And I was just like, I don't know if Eagle's ready for it. And then they're like, just please. And like,
loved it.
Periwinkle asked me, and Travis asked me, and I was like, you know what?
Did
Yes.
Periwinkle tell you how that show came about? Make you blush?
No.
So that shows. I was one of the ones that helped. I was one of the ones that helped bring that show come to life.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much brought the idea to Dan and said, "Hey, I want us to do a drag show at least once a month." And the owners and Dan didn't want
No.
they didn't want shit to do
But
with
he
drag
brought-
queens. They didn't want
no.
shit to do with the show. But I had to convince him. I said, "Look, if I can." So before I even brought it to Dan, I talked to Perry and I said, "If I can convince him of this show idea, will you sign up with me and do it with me? And would you be in charge of it?" And Cairo said, "Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down. Let's do it." So I got Cairo on board. So when I approached Dan with the idea, I said, "Look, you don't have to deal with the drag queens. Cairo will do it. He'll talk to them. He'll deal with them. He'll
Yeah.
pay them out, whatever it takes. You don't have to." So we eventually I convinced them to give us
Yeah.
the green light on it. Once we got the green light, me and Cairo and what's his name?
Emily Taylor?
Yes, Annalie.
Yeah.
What his name?
Naylor.
Yes.
Willie.
So Willie,
Yeah.
we sat down, man, and we just put ideas
know.
together, concepts,
But
and
I
things
was
like
right.
that.
Willie's amazing. I love Willie.
So that
But
black
I
and
was right there when he did it, and he said, "Joel, I'm going to do this," and I'm like, "Okay, are you going to do this?" And he's like, "Yes." And
I'm like, it's gonna be really gross. Just letting you
gonna
know,
be
but it's gonna be.
gross.
But can I tell you, like, did you take my eyes off me for 1 second?
No.
No, nobody did because everybody, like the bartenders, the bar was so quiet at Ripcord because they were like fucking watching me, like literally pull shit out of someone.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Nutella.
you literally had to look at me. You literally looked at me, and I went, "She's going to do this."
And it's
She's
like
gonna
this is
do
like
this.
okay. So this number, I did it at my local bar, in Florida. Then this person from Miami is like, hey, I'll pay you $300 if you do this at my venue.
Done.
Then that person,
What day?
I went to his venue. Then somebody else asked me. Then somebody else asked me. Then I got hired for this really queer Miami thing, and they asked me to do that number. And I was like,
Done.
okay,
Done.
like yeah, like $1 worth of pudding
Okay.
is worth it.
$1
Period.
to 300. Done. I'll be
Period.
there.
But
Sign me up.
here's the thing. I watch you at Buddy's.
Yeah.
You were just doing your thing at Buddy's.
Yeah. Honestly,
Why
You
are
are
you?
doing-
You were just doing your thing at Buddy's, and that's
I'm always myself. Always
And you
myself.
should.
I'm always transparent. I
And
always.
by the way, it's not that bad. You were just doing your thing at
You're
Buddy's,
doing your own thing, with buddies.
and I was just taking.
And I love,
Like-
I love the fact that where I'm at now, they give me a
They
lot
give
of
you a
creative,
platform.
Yeah,
platform
exactly.
and
You were
creative.
just at Buddy's, just doing your thing, and I just thought of him when he was doing this thing. At the same time, I have suddenly started to get to understand the idea of what got. I honestly, when he and I were talking, the first thing I said, I want to understand what gay Houston is.
Yeah.
And he got to show me that. And and I just saw it.
Angel, I think we should close out the podcast.
Oh, we're
We could have Julio again.
Yo, fuck
For another
I would
sesh.
love to
Yeah.
come back when there's no time
yes,
constraint.
but
Yeah.
you and I are going to talk about this.
Because I would love to tell stories and,
Yeah.
and
Because
go
He's
more
got to go,
into-
baby. It's past 7, and we
Oh,
said
is it?
yeah.
And I'm
Okay.
sorry to the podcast
No.
listeners. I apologize. I'm
No.